All right, guys, today we got a special guest in the house. This man has had so much history from battle rap to no jumper, straight from the fresh coast, Lush motherfucking Uno.
Come on, man. Y'all know the vibes. More kicks than Cobra Kai. Blessing shots every time we rolling by. Over ice like Robitaille. Yo, play a partner, Lush Uno. Come on, man.
Yo, Lush, what's good with you, bro?
Hey, I'm gonna let you know like this. You feel me? In the end zone, I'm gonna reach it if you hand it off from Panda Chop every single time.
Man, I'm glad that you're here. I just want to take this opportunity and shout out Copyright for setting this up, man. You know, before we begin.
Shouts to C-Dub78. You feel me? That's my fella since sliced mozzarella.
Yeah, man. You know, I really appreciate him setting this up. Like, Copy is like, I haven't known him that long, but like even before I interviewed him, he was like, yo, you interviewed this person yet? I'm gonna set that up for you. You interview this person yet? I'm gonna set that up for you. And you being in the industry, you know how it is. It's like a lot of times people will say they'll do something for you and they don't do it. You know what I mean? Like I've talked to people for like 2-3 years that said they're gonna set me up with some interviews. Never happened. But this guy did it even before I did an interview with him. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Copy, man. That's real shit right there.
Nah, Copy, he inspired a lot of people that were just really interested in pushing their pen and lyricism to the fullest capacity they could in that late 90s, early 2000s era. Like Megahertz, his work with the Eastern Conference, the High Exalted, these were coveted works for people that were all the battle rappers. Everybody that you've seen that like wound up, you mentioned Fresh Coast, all of us that come from that cloth and that umbrella, we were studying Copy very, very intensely. Like the way that he would flip a punchline but have another one in there, like jumping jacks with a pumpkin patch, instead of just like, you know what I'm saying? Say like, yo, I'll hustle fast, with a pumpkin patch. He would have the extra rhyme in there, and like he taught us a lot, for real.
Yeah. And I think that's what was so dope when he actually, even having a established music career, he decided to still hit the stage and battle rap though, which was so crazy because, you know, a lot of times people won't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like to a lot of people that would be kind of humbling, but Copy come from battle rap. But like most people that are of the cloth of MCs, if you're talking about anything that has to do with the mic or slaughtering MCs or this or that, you better be prepared at some point to step in the arena if you haven't already. Like no cliche shit, but that's kind of a mandatory. Mm-hmm. Everyone's battled at some point. So I think for him, like it made sense. I feel like he's kind of him being willing to do that. I was kind of hoping that it would have started more of a trend as far as his contemporaries, a lot of the Breeze Everflowings and the dudes that were shining. And I'd like to see a lot of them return, but I think the format change and battle rap going from something that was traditionally freestyle over beats to pre-written, insult essays and just like lyrical diatribes. I think those changes kind of, a lot of people got left behind with that,
Got you, man. Yeah, so let's start at the beginning. You were born in LA, right? You grew up on the West Side?
Yeah, born and raised on that West Side of things.
All right, well, let's clarify, okay, because people have different clarifications of what the West Side is. So what is it for you?
So really like what personifies West LA to me is like west of La Brea. You feel me? Like a lot of people from a gang perspective, people will claim anything west of downtown or anything west of the 110 or deep in South Central. If it's west of the 110, they still West Side gangs. Like even if it's all the way up to Fig, like within a couple blocks of the 110, fools are still jacking, West Side Hoover, West Side H-Ray, West Side 60s, you know what I mean? Like they're pushing, and all the Mexican gangs too. It's all West Side. But to me, West LA is, I'll say anything, once you get super south of Jefferson, you're in Mid-City. I'll say once you get east of La Brea, you in Mid City as well. I'll say as anything west of that, all the way to the beach for real. Like obviously the richer parts of town, they count as West LA, but they're not really the trench side. So what I just described encompasses Beverly Hills, Malibu, things like that. They're not necessarily the West LA, but they are like the west side of Los Angeles from a geographic perspective. The thing that's weird about West LA, though, especially in the 80s and 90s, was you could grow up on a super nice block with $3-4 million homes. And it's like that to this day. And now this is a kind of been a thing, gentrification that's spread all through LA. But you could be on a block with like $3 or $4 million homes, and then the projects are 2 blocks down, like the Mar Vista Gardens or the Lincoln Homes are 2 blocks down, and and like, or just like a dicey ass street with low income housing, Section 8 housing. So people, there's kind of a coagulation. West LA is one of the most culturally diverse places in the world. Now, growing up there, despite that, it was like culturally diverse, but segregated. You know what I mean? Like people kind of stayed to their type way more. People like me were a bit of an anomaly, and my friends, and now that's kind of the norm in the West Side. We're always like the most forward, the most diverse, most progressive, most fashion forward. That's just like the West Side get the money. The West Side set the trends. Yeah, that's not to say it don't go down on the West Side, but there's a much closer proximity to wealth. So people are kind of able to wiggle in a different way. Like the East Side, it just gets straight treacherous. That's where most of the projects are. It's a whole different thing.
Right. So you grew up with 2 brothers, but they were like 12 and 14 years older than you. So you almost like grew up like an only child in a way, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like, and shouts to my brothers. Like, I describe myself as a beloved black sheep because I'm really close to my family, like to this day. And they kind of understand me for the eccentric, outside the box individual that I am. We're all kind of unique in our own ways. My brothers, they were kind of like that sweet spot, no Diddy, where they were too old to really like beat me up, but they were still close enough in age to make an impression on me. So being around them, I learned a lot about music, and I was kicking it with their friends at a young ass age. I'm talking like 4 or 5 years old, like young as hell. I remember their homies and the music they was listening to, and, watching Hoop and the 80s in LA, and just, you feel me, like hearing gangster rap and heavy metal and all that for the first time, and classic rock, and growing up in a super, just like eclectic family that was dope. That was dope for real. I mean, it was kind of, it was definitely sad when they went off to college and stuff. I was pretty young, and like, but all that, that's like kind of normal, I guess. You feel me, like type shit when you growing up.
Mm-hmm. And what is your ethnic background?
What do you think it is in school?
Jewish?
No. 100%.
100%. Okay. And in your eyes, though, right? Do you consider Jewish people to be white people? Because people.
Where's Necro at? Where's Necro at? Necro, yo, I got a lefty Jew in the building. Yo, a lefty Jew will never get along with me. Never. Nah, fuck it. That's the cool part. Like our friend. All right, first of all, I'll say this. So technically, I'm no religion. Like I consider myself a Christian. I'm a Christian. My father is Jewish, but he was never bar mitzvahed. His grandparents, like his parents, were very like religious. Like my grandfather on that side was very religious, Jewish, going back far, far, far. And my mom's side is Italian Catholic, like from the Bronx, like hardcore. You know what I mean? Like Italian Catholic. So I'm mixed right down the middle. By Jewish definition, I'm not Jewish. You know what I mean? I could have gone to Hebrew school and learn the secret handshakes and all that shit. You feel me? But I didn't. A lot of my homies growing up are Jewish. I got a lot of culturally, I'm very connected with Jews. What I'll say is this: as far as like the lefty versus conservative, like I'm not like a super partisan type dude. When it comes down to it, there's certain issues socially that I lean left on, but at the same time, I don't want to have some dude wearing a motherfucking mini skirt taking a piss next to my nieces. I believe in fools having the right to strap up. I'm a Second Amendment type player out here. You feel me? You can't really like box me in as a lefty or anything. I guess a left-leaning centrist or right. I don't even know what to define me as. Like, definitely my parents are like consummate Democrats, and that's deeply in my DNA and things like that. But at the same time, I feel like I'm just kind of a good person when it comes down to it. I lead with my heart.
I feel you, man. And, I wanted to follow up on what you said, because your family actually has roots on the East Coast, right?
I mean, my whole family's from New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my mom is from the Bronx and then moved to Long Island at a young age, but she's from the Bronx, and my family's deeply rooted. They came from Italy straight to the Bronx. My dad's from Uptown and has been there. His family, same thing, immigrated from Russia. You feel me? Everyone came through Ellis Island or whatever in the early 1900s and migrated to New York City. I'm the first person in my family born and raised in Los Angeles. People still get a really New York vibe from me. Obviously, I spent a good couple of weeks of my life, every year of my life in New York. It's deeply ingrained in me. I can navigate Manhattan like the back of my hand. I know most of the boroughs pretty good. I've been everywhere. I've literally slept in every borough and even Yonkers, Mount Vernon, most of Long Island, and all that shit. You feel me? Like Jersey, that motherfucker. Philly, lived in Philly for a year. I spent a lot of time in the East Coast and fuck the East Coast heavy.
So then your dad was a film director, right? And your mom was a producer?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, your dad was pretty successful. I mean, he had a lot of movies that he directed, produced, wrote on, and stuff like that.
Yeah, my dad's a straight fucking joint. Shouts to my pops, Peter. She's an incredible filmmaker. He goes back, even prior to that, my pops was the youngest anchorman in CBS News history. He was 21 years old, anchorman in Chicago. My pops interviewed Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all kinds of crazy shit.
Wow.
Deep in the game. My parents marched on Washington, all that. Basically my family for generations deep is like activism and the entertainment industry, going back 4 generations, 5 generations, whatever. Mussolini smoked my great grandfather. They was ops. He smoked him literally, like had him executed. Something about like mailed his eyeball to his family type shit. Like, yeah, like it's deep. You feel me? From the same village. Near Siena, I think it's near Siena, like in Tuscany, somewhere out there. Most of my Italian family from Tuscany, except for my dad's side or my grandfather's side is from Southern Italy. Yeah, my pops made amazing movies. He was pretty much an auteur when it came to sci-fi and cutting edge late 70s to 80s sci-fi and mystical horror movies and all that. I was on the set. I went from being on sets to being on sets. You feel me? I experienced it all. LA's a weird place like that. My pops, I was on the set of Monster Squad when I was a kid. That shit was gnarly as hell. There's times where I kind of like had no perspective. I kind of thought that was normal. I didn't realize that all people didn't grow up like that. I thought that everybody, but my family is really humble. They're not like grandiose. My parents they own like a nice home, but it wasn't anything compared to the different people I've seen in LA and a lot of the kids I wanted with. When I was in private school, so I've been to public school, private school, I ran the whole gamut of LAUSD, continuation school, charter school. I've seen it all. like my parents are pretty fucking humble, and they never really were super grandiose and own crazy things like that. And people would think for the amount of success my dad had, really like my dad took care of the majority of his family, from his mother to my mom's. Not that they didn't make money. I don't want to put too much of my family on blast like that or whatever, but my pops is taking care of a lot of the fucking people. And I wasn't one of them. I kind of went rogue. Not that my dad's not there for me, but I kind of went rogue at a young age. I got arrested for the first time when I was 13. I was in the system when I was 16.
Whoa, wait. You're going too far. You're going too fast, all right? We gotta slow down. How would you describe yourself as a child, though? Like, were you quiet, social? Did you like sports, music, or school, like, early on?
I mean, I was a badass kid. I was steadily in the mix, killing, you feel me? Like, steadily doing bunk. I was outside. Because remember what you said. Pops is a successful director. He's outside. He's gone. You feel me? Making movies for the majority of the year. Getting that petty, right? To sustain a lifestyle for several people. My brothers, they done dipped to college. I'm essentially, there might be some Oedipus complex cracking off because it's just me and moms. You feel me? Like, can't nobody say shit. I love it, moms. You feel me and moms. So also moms can't tell me shit. So I'm outside. I was a good kid. I got good grades, but I was rambunctious. I was out of control. It's funny. A lot of the over the top sounding, almost like almost like satirical stories that Fat Joe tells about his childhood, having gangs of kids at his beckoning call. That kind of describes my childhood pretty well. Same type of shit. Like, literally, was just influenced my entire block to do bunk. Was outside. Nothing serious. I had a good childhood, but I was really mischievous.
Got you. Okay. So
Really
so like that's a interesting
breaking
thing, right?
into houses, breaking into cars, taking cars, but it wasn't like in a bad way. You know what I mean? I was like Dennis the Menace to society.
Right. So that's an interesting thing, though, right? Because like you would think with two parents in Hollywood that you grew up in a good family, fairly good economic status, right? But you grew up in LA and you were a troubled youth at the same time.
Look, brother, I'm not looking for any sympathy. I know the optics of it. Quote unquote, Nepo baby. You feel me? No sympathy given. I see one, I fucking cringe. I laugh at it. I know. I get it. But, and I'm not asking for any fucking sympathy. And I'll say this. A lot of I could have been a kid that didn't have to deal with no type of bullshit. I put myself in a lot of bullshit. I went through a lot of bullshit, which culminated in way more bullshit than anybody could ever fathom. And more bullshit than most of the people watching this could even, they would have it's hard to say because look, I call it the 26th Street curse. There's a street, 26th Street in Santa Monica, right? It's in like a rich part of town right near Brentwood. I know 4 kids that grew up within 0.4 miles of it that are dead, right? And they had everything given to them. But for some reason, their own affluence, their own arrogance, and I'm not like disrespecting a couple of them, 5 of them, my bad. Not only, yeah, you feel me? Like, I don't even want to say them by name, but that's and when I say I'm the dead homies, that's not what I'm talking about, but they aren't the dead homies as well. Like affluence, like a lot of the kids that grew up more rough and tumble, you see kids that grew up even lower middle class, or if they're from the Jacks or from this or that, they appreciate life more. They understand the value of a dollar. They're not just handed everything. They go out there and get it for their own. They learn how to, they join a trade school and learn something practical, then they get offer society. So when things crumble that don't make sense, they're still able to get it out of the mud. A lot of these kids just relied on their parents having bread, or having Abercrombie and Fitch outfit and thinking they was cute. I think my mess to You feel me? So like, it's interesting, dude. It's a dichotomy. A lot of the kids, because I know a lot of kids that grew up in the hood that are no longer with us as well. You know what I'm saying? Long live YSC. Long live YCA 80 bands just passed away yesterday. You feel me? Like, I lose friends from the more church up side of Los Angeles on a regular as well. But it's, greed, addiction, the trappings of Los Angeles doesn't discriminate based on wealth, gender, socioeconomic status, race, age, anything.
So as a kid, like, were you like diagnosed with like anything like ADD or ADHD or anything like that?
What the fuck you think, bro? If you're born between like the late 70s and mid 80s and you're white, you're more diagnosed with something. You feel me? 100%. I was diagnosed with everything. What wasn't I diagnosed with? The funniest diagnosis I got was when I was 16. They said hallucinogen dependent. That's when I went to Anacapa juvenile inversion program. But yeah, I was diagnosed with everything, bro.
Wow. And like, how was it like for you, like processing that, like as an early kid?
I was being a little bitch about it when I was a kid. Like, it's like, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. Like, I don't know. I was all shook. I was being a hoe about it straight up. Like, that shit, I can't believe, because of like, then if I knew that meant more fucking brain candy, happy pills, hello, like more of an excuse to use for the rest of your life, hello, participation trophies for the rest of your life, hello. If I would have known that, I would have been like, sign me up here, brother. But I was like, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. Yeah. So yeah, like one of the like first bullshit diagnoses they ever gave me, they said mild dysgraphia, which is a form of dyslexia, but you like write words and letters wrong or some shit, you're illegibly. And I cried like a fucking hyena, fool. Like, I can't believe, bro. Yeah. But I came to terms with that eventually. And once I realized that drugs were involved, that they'll be fun.
So in '94, the movie Timecop comes out, which your dad directed, and you were in it as a newsboy, right?
Hell yeah.
You were like, what, 12?
Snubbed at the Oscars, if we're being completely honest. Like the fact that I didn't get a nominee for that, like, snubbed.
You were like, what, 12 at the time when you filmed it?
I think I was a little younger because it came out like in 94. So I want to say I was probably like 11, 10. Because this is back in the day when everything was analog. And, like my dad, he a real artiste when it comes to the editing process. He would be like literally giving proctology exams to his editors while they were working on it. My pops went and bought an Avid. Before it was an editing software, when it was hardware and cost deep into the six figures. Like, so yeah, my dad movies would take like a year and a half to make. I want to say I was like 9 or 10 around the time I filmed that. Yeah.
So that movie, it stars Jean-Claude Van Damme, right? Which is epic in itself.
Yeah.
Totally. What was your experience like being in a movie at such a young age?
Well, I didn't even know I was going to be. That was like a random decision the day of, or it felt like one to me. Maybe my dad had it planned out for all. You know what I'm saying? In retrospect, it's like, I gotta ask him, because the day of me, like he just told me that day, like, hey, you want to be in the movie? Like, got some, just like we're gonna dress you up as a newspaper boy, and you gonna ask this fool if you want a newspaper. And it literally happened that day. There was no pre-thought. It wasn't like, oh, you couldn't be in the movie. I could have been a child actor. I was already getting cast, probably because it's funny. I thought about this beyond me being so talented, obviously, right? Maybe a lot of the local drama teachers were aspiring actors and wanted a look in one of my pops' movies or some bullshit, because I was getting cast as the lead in all the little school plays my whole life. You feel me? So I could have had a career doing that. I just thought that child actors were pretty fucking gay, and I didn't really want to be a part of that whole gay thing. You feel me?
So that was going to be my next question, like why you didn't continue down that path of being an actor with your family so involved in that industry.
You know what? Like, it just seemed lame to me, fool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, first of all, the idea of being like on a set, and this sounds crazy. You know, I'm glad I had a childhood. I realized that it's not crazy. I would have sacrificed having a fucking childhood if I wanted to be a child actor. I wanted to play sports, be outside with my friends, you feel me? Like, mac up girls, whatever, not be in a trailer and possibly molested by a casting director or some weird shit, you feel me? Like, the fuck? Like, no, obviously I'm joking, but like, nah, like, I'm glad that I chose to have a regular childhood. And who knows? Maybe I didn't have what it. I never really put too much thought into me having what it took to do anything. I've always been somewhat talented.
You know, there is definitely pros and cons to everything, right? Because like you see like these people that were childhood actors, but like you said, they were robbed of their childhood, even though they're kind of like set up for life in the financial side of things, but they miss out on a lot of opportunities. They end up having a lot of issues.
Are they though? Are they set up for life?
Well, okay, some of them. All right, yeah, but
I think that's like the outlier. I think that's the exception of the rule. You're thinking of the Macaulay Culkins and the this or that who wind up getting fines of 10 million. Even didn't that fool wind up getting stripped by his parents? Super tough, and there's hella litigation. Even the most successful child actor is gonna go through some bullshit, bro. Like I said.
But that's what I mean, though. Like, eventually, there is a bad side to it too, though. You know what I mean? Like, they do go through a lot of issues.
Ones, even for the successful ones, they still got to deal with some bullshit. Like, the majority of them are broke as hell, probably trying to rap or do some weird shit. You feel me?
Well, I mean, like, you got the Chet Hanks of the world and stuff too, right?
well, hey, honestly, I got nothing bad to say about Chet Hanks. He's a solid kid. You feel me? Like I call everyone kid. He's a grown ass man. But not like I get it, and I understand people seeing the self parody in that guy. But I think Chet Hanks seems like a solid dude. I feel like he beat the shit out of a lot of people too. Heads up, to be honest, like 1-on-1. Chet Hanks probably got squambles. I'm not signing him up for fades, by the way, but I'm just saying. I don't think he's a bitch.
No, I don't think that. I'm just saying though, like it's Hollywood's an interesting place, bro. Right?
I mean, like what wasn't Alchemist in a group with Scott Conn? We still mean this James Conn. So, you know, this isn't anything new. This has been around, especially in the West Side of things. Like I said, like tag banging, graffiti. Graffiti is. First of all, Los Angeles is graffiti city, USA. Don't get it twisted. And graffiti means something different out here. The way it gets intertwined with gangs. Tag banging is a thing. And if you outside and you're catching spots and you bombing, and you from somewhere. And then brings with it and carries with it everything that comes with that.
Right. Do you remember the moment that you fell in love with hip hop?
But Joe, I'm obligatory ask questions, man. This is me you talking to. First song I heard, I believe the year, it's 1986. Remember, I had older brothers. 6 in the morning, police at my door. Fresh, you feel me? Yeah, that right there. Once I heard like Too Short and Eazy-E cussing, that was really big for me. Too Short and Eazy-E cussing, saying like Eazy-E saying bitch. I remember like my older brother telling me what the N-word meant and like, oh, don't be saying this because I remember that really well. The song Ice-T was a big thing. And then like obviously Eric B and Rakim put like Enemy. I always thought Flavor Flav was wavy when I was a little ass kid. I was like, oh, this dude's tight. He got a clock around his neck. He's fire. Like, I didn't really understand much too else, but like that shit was hard. And Rakim, he also had a chain and was really seemed like the bitch was on him. Slick Rick. Oh yeah. Slick Rick, fool. I ain't gonna lie. Fat Boys, Beastie Boys. Fat Boys were big though. Fat Boys get slept on, fool. They had a cartoon. Fat Boys had a cartoon. That was, man, I ain't gonna lie. The Fat Boys are back. When I first heard that, I was like, oh, fuck. You know, I love metal music. I was a big Ozzy Osbourne fan. Crazy Train was big. Def Leppard was big. You know, first big concert was Genesis. Phil Collins, Dodger Stadium, 1991. I think the We Can't Dance tour. But I think the ultimate moment when I fell in love, I'm also going to give props to Vanilla Ice as well. Vanilla Ice was going crazy, him and Hammer. Vanilla Ice has swag. Fools overlooked Vanilla Ice. He has swag. Crisscross, bro. That was the moment. And it's because we was the same age. And I recently interviewed Shaheem, the rugged child. I told him, you was like my age. We was both in set. Like Shaheem's like 2 years older than me, but it felt like we was the same age when his music was coming out. And I related a lot to him and seeing a kid my age. But Crisscross, I was wearing my pants backwards. I was the first kid in my class to say, wicked, 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 wicked. I can't even say that. Wicked, 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 whack. I was the first kid in my class to be able to say that. And yeah, I was getting all the pussy. Save something for the rest of us, Lush.
It's funny that you brought up Flavor Flav because like I always felt like your personality was so big, like, you know, pause, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like you had this like this really large personality, just like him.
100%. Like that's I think the showmanship aspect didn't escape me from an early age, and I think that's always been really important beyond just the roots of coming from a theater family. Because when I think of theater, I think of some fruity shit, and like in the context of hip hop, I don't fuck with that. Like I don't fuck with Hamilton. Hamilton's weak as hell. That's why I fucking Mortal Technique yoked up fucking Lin-Manuel or whatever, fucking serving about whatever the fuck the story is. Shots to the homie Technique, you know what it is. You feel me? Like I don't fuck with Hamilton. That's bitch made ass shit. You feel me? Like, but I've always been into the whole, the personality aspect of it for sure. Why be boring? Why be like everybody else? Why tell everybody? That's lame.
And then like your first rap you modeled it after Too Short, right?
Yeah. Too Short for sure. So it started with Crisscross, and then in 7th grade, Cocktails came out. There's this thing called The Box. I don't know. Do you ever talk about The Box on here?
I've never had anyone talk about The Box.
What the fuck? All the necro copyright, all you guys have fucking... No one talked about The Box? Okay. The Box was a local cable station. It was throughout the United States, and you call in and you request different videos, and they pull up, and your parents get mad at you because it's a 900 number, but people, whatever is requested in your area is popping up. Now, that's how, I'm not gonna lie, first time I saw Wu-Tang Clan, Brand Nubian, fucking Boot Camp Click, like all this shit was when it first dropped on The Box. Artists were getting broken out of The Box more than MTV Raps, especially more alternative underground acts at that time, 1,000,000%. So, yeah, like when the Cocktails by Too Short video hit The Box, and you know, he's drinking half naked women out of a glass of a champagne glass, and he's got an insane fedora on that's taller than Flavor Flav you'd ever wish to have, and he's just like, man, all the bitches love him. And he's just like, every bar is, I'd never heard of Freaky Tales at the time. I didn't realize that this is an interpolation of Freaky Tales, a song that Too Short. I want to do the knowledge real quick. But at the time, I'm like, yo, Cocktails, and that's a great double entendre, Cocktails. I'm like, okay, this is my vibe right here as a horny 7th grader. So let me write my own version of Cocktails about all the bitches in 7th grade that I'm not fucking, but I'm a second fucking them. You tell me, like, and I wrote a verse about all, my bad. I'm friends with Happy All Those on Facebook to this day. You feel me? You got grandchildren now and shit. But yeah, you feel me? Like, yeah, that's literally how I started. I was like, I had written like interpolations of Jump by Crisscross, and I had a verse called Nick's Poem I wrote in third grade. I guess that would be like 8, 9 or whatever. It's my first verse for real. But I still remember Nick's Poem. But that's not like, like, yeah, my first real verse, 7th grade.
But you was also writing poetry, though, before that, right?
Yeah. Nick's Poem. But, like, Nick's Poem had, like, polysyllabic rhyme schemes without trying. And
got you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So in third grade.
How'd you come up with the name Lush One, though? Was that your first rap name, or you had something else before then?
No, I didn't come up with, like, the name Lush One as a rap name. Like, names, it's not a legitimate name if you come up with it yourself. You got to be given it, especially if it's the hood name, street name. I get it, like, for graffiti, you come up with a name because you like the letters in a. I'd had a few tags before. I'd had Jinx. I've been writing Stare. I became Lush, and I started uni Hyperville. I already had the word in mind. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I look back at certain things where, like, I had the word in mind way before then. But apparently, and I always thought until recently, for sure, I became Lush when I started uni high in 1998 after juvie, and after I got expelled for getting the father's son dropped like bitch made Mark that he is. And yeah, the Fonz, Henry Wickler's son. I got his fucking son drunk and he puked in our class and stitched me out and got expelled. This is after juvie, and I fucking wound up in uni. When I'm at uni, I had a shirt that said Lush on it. And it was from the movie Vacation. And it's Chevy Chase and his son. They drive all the way across the U.S. They make it to Wally World. It's closed. But he gives his son a beer, and his son enjoys the beer a little bit more than expected. It was a brand called Serial Killer. It was an underground streetwear brand in New York at the time. It says Serial Killer Lush, and it was Rusty pounding the beer, and Chevy Chase looking at it like, damn, and it said Lush. And motherfuckers ain't know my name when I went to the new school, but I wore that shirt like every day, being a grimy little skater, tatter kid. And they started calling me Lush. And then I was like, oh, you know what? That's kind of fly. So I started writing. And then one comes because it comes from you, feel me, at the time. I wasn't fucking with the homies. I wasn't from the hood, you feel me, at the time, where I was like not pushing. I felt like estranged from the hood. So it was I was a oneer. I'm still Uno to this day. Really, my hood name Uno. Like, fools don't call me Lush, they call me Uno. If you're really my friend, you call me Uno. But one, it ain't no like, you know what I mean. If you a tagger, like one means he's solo dolo.
Got you.
You ain't with it.
So I want to give the people some context before we start.
And even if I'm with a crew, I'm still on my own tip. So one fit me really good.
Right. So I want to give the people some context before we start going into some more of your experiences with the rehab facilities and everything like that. I saw that you've spoken about this before, but it's not very common thing that you've spoken about. When you were 5 years old, something very traumatic happened to you that would change your life forever.
You talking about like you talking about with Shorty?
Yeah.
Oh shit! All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so
let me give a little more info. So you were abused by a female babysitter, right?
Well, that wasn't when I was 5. Well, yeah. No. So okay. There's like a few different things. When I was 5, there's a little girl. Damn, it's crazy that we're talking about it, but fuck it. So when I was 5, there's like the homegirl, right? We was in the same preschool. Our parents was friends, and I used to go to her crib to hang out. I really liked going to her crib. I was like, man, this girl kind of lame. Family's kind of poor. I ain't fucking with it. But like, she would always want to play weird little games like, oh, let's play doctor. So she would have me do little sex acts on her, bro. And we both little kids, you feel me? I wound up also subsequently being sexually active with babysitters and tutors and things like that. That's more when I was like a teenager. And I ain't even gonna claim that as abuse. On Soft White Iron Belly, I said that's abuse. And I was like when I was fresh out of a little Christian rehab and they said, oh, that's abuse. No, I was glad that I was clapping cachetes at that age. I ain't gonna lie. You should be like, but I guess it's still kind of technically abuse. Like the bitch, like kind of raped me and shit for me. Like, but yeah.
Right. So like there was a situation.
You can talk about it like detail. Like I just want to get you demonetized.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's like tragic.
Yeah. So there was a situation when you were a teenager and a woman like in her 30s got you drunk, right? And like took advantage of you. And I know that in the past you've said that like, oh, like people would be like, well, you got laid. Like, why is that a problem? That's good for you or something like that, But at the same time, I think a lot of times guys don't come out and talk about this type of stuff, especially if it involves a woman. I mean, well,
she was. Here's the thing, bro. She wasn't hot. Like if it was like if she was hot, then it would be different. Like she was, I would not normally engage. And I'm 17. I'm horny. I'm trying to get pussy for sure. But I would not have fucked this lady. I promise you. You feel me? Like, and there's other times, like where I kind of like look back and I was like, damn, there's an older woman when I was that age, and she was trying to get down with me or whatever, and I didn't do it because I felt awkward or whatever, and I wish I would have instead of this bitch. But she literally like, bro, like, so my homie, he's already fucking with her homegirl. My homie's bitch that he fucking, she 25, she kind of bad, you feel me? I wish we could have just tag teamed her, you feel me? Like, that would have been, we wouldn't be having this conversation, you feel me? Like, she hot, you feel me? Like, now, her friend is this older lady. I ain't even going trying to slime her out or snitch her out, say where she from, this or that, whatever. She like in her late 30s, like close to my age now. I'm 43. You feel me? I'm 17 at the time. I think I had just broke up with my little girlfriend, and you feel me? Like, so I'm all depressed. Like, and like, they're like, this lady like preyed on me, bro. She's like, oh, what do you like to drink? I don't even know what to say I like from the liquor store yet. That's on your hand. You feel me? I don't even know, like, oh, like, for sure, like, 40s is cool. I was like, oh, like, Bailey's Irish cream. That's what I nourished. You feel me? Like, bitch, like, you are trying to get me hungover more than drunk. You feel me? But regardless, bitch got me drunk and, like, threw a nasty-ass twat on me. You feel me? And I hit that shit. Like, luckily with a condom on. And she didn't think she was doing nothing wrong. You feel me? I was like, I ain't gonna cry about it or whatever, but like, ew. Like, I don't fuck a lot of bitches, you feel me, that are ill, you feel me, that I don't condone fucking on, but like, yeah, that was weird. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
So usually when you go through something like that, like a sexual abuse kind of situation and stuff, it's...
You didn't figure my butthole, guys, don't worry.
What? No, I'm not saying that. But usually it's something that people experience like multiple times throughout their life. It's kind of like a recurring thing.
For sure. I wonder if, it's possible that what I experienced as a super youngster kind of set the pace for that and normalized it. There's other experiences that were kind of similar. Yeah, you feel me? Female babysitter being a little too friendly, wanting to bathe the player. Yeah. You know what? Shit. And it's always women. Like, luckily, I'm glad it wasn't no dudes because, like, shit, I'm already traumatized enough from these hoes. Damn. Imagine if I got my fucking shit split by a dude. You feel me?
So, Lush, what changed your perspective on these situations from the time that you did the one interview after you came out of that Christian facility?
It's not that anything really changed my perspective. I think that I was just coming from a way more mentally health conscious, indoctrinated by that. And I'm not saying this in a bad way or a demeaning way towards mental health education. I just feel like I was a lot more cognizant and sensitive towards that than I am now.
Got you. Okay. So did people say anything to you after learning that about you? Like in the comments or to you personally?
Bro, like the thing is, like, look, bro, anytime somebody says anything to me, I'll say this: I've been called way worse by way better people. You feel me? So it really don't offend me, the words you like have no. I'm literally a triceratops when it comes to this shit. You have to archaeologically dig millions of years into the hypothetical ice age to find skin thicker than mine.
You've described yourself as a perpetual disappointment, black sheep of the family, right? Your oldest brother was the CEO of Indeed.com?
He was.
Right. And your second brother is a filmmaker as well.
You got to check out his new movie. So he made a movie back in the late 90s called The Smashing Machine that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, well, he made a documentary about a dude named Mark Kerr called The Smashing Machine, which was like predates UFC. It was early when it was called Ultimate Fighting, and it was the mixed martial arts was primarily sanctioned in Thailand and foreign countries like that. But he made that documentary, which is now a movie starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So my brother, I don't even know which one of my brothers is more glowed up, but it's like, to be honest with you, like my cultural contributions to hip hop kind of equal, if not dwarf, anything any one of my family's ever done. Like I say that in the sense of, I always said that in the sense of what I understand. Like I'm self-aware enough to know what it looks like and what people would perceive of me, as far as like, okay, this dude clearly, like doesn't have the same monetary fiscal success as his other siblings. However, what I contribute culturally, I feel like my family's quite cognizant of. I'm very proud of.
Mm-hmm. So you started smoking and drinking like around the age of 12, right?
Yeah.
And at the age of 13, you get arrested for drinking 40s in the back of an In-N-Out?
Yeah, that's right.
And is In-N-Out still better than Whataburger?
Yeah, I mean, I worked at Whataburger when I was 19. I know how janky that shit is for real. You tell me there's a reason why that simplified menu. First of all, our food
Wait,
better.
they had that in California?
No. So this is when I was living. I was 19. I was living in Prescott, Arizona, and
oh, right.
Yeah. So that's when I worked at Whataburger. But yeah, In-N-Out, people from, there's a reason why Whataburger is not in California, but In-N-Out is creeping into more and more states, including Texas, of the United States, because it's superior cuisine.
Mm-hmm.
The more is blessed. The Church of Latter-day Saints bless In-N-Out for sure.
And then at 16, you get arrested and charged with vandalism, trespassing, and you had 3 dime bags on you. So they got you a possession, but they tried to say that you had intention to distribute, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, bro. Man, crazy. PANDA Chop ain't playing when he pull your motherfucking juvenile paperwork. My boy got access to juvenile paperwork, gang. No cap.
But you end up getting sent to that juvenile facility, the Anacapa, right?
Yeah.
And what was that experience like for you?
Anacapa was hell, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Anacapa was hell. And there's a reason why that facility was shut down by the state of California. And that whole entire part of, look, to this day, I'll say this. Whatever I endured at Anacapa ain't nothing compared to the foster care system of California, particularly in Los Angeles right now, and what these kids are going through right now. And the way that it's incentivized for foster parents to be able to get money from the government, our taxpayer dollars are going to motherfucking essential like child trafficking slumlords. And that's not the entirety, but the vast majority of the system, the the foster care system of Los Angeles and the fact that things like that are even intertwined. Let me get that split player. You feel me? Yeah. Appreciate you, gang. Yeah. So, yeah.
What was your family's reaction to all of this at this time?
I mean, to be honest with you, fool, my family was snitches, fool. Like, and I hate to say it like that, but they cooperated with the police. I never even said that publicly, but they cooperated with the police. You feel me?
But what I'm saying though is like, did you ever have any conversations with your parents about like why you were doing the substance, like drinking and smoking and doing these type of things?
Well, yeah, it's funny because like I realized because here's the funny thing, right? My oldest brother, when he was talking about who was the CEO of Indeed, he had a little snafu when he was in college, right? I guess it started late high school for him. And he wound up partying too much. He was a deadhead. He's following the Grateful Dead, taking too much LSD. That winds up into harder stuff. He winds up, you feel me, eating some dog food. And he winds up going to treatment. You feel me? Like, so my family and my dad being like around Hollywood and all that, he sees so many of his homies getting strung out. It's kind of like a part of the culture.
And for your brother, it lasted for like a few years.
I kind of fucked it. So here's the thing. It basically, when I first got caught with weed, instead of just being a G and taking the punishment, I was like, I'm addicted to drugs. So my parents started tripping on me at a young ass age about the drugs. Like, I should have been more chill about it.
But when you went to Anacapa, that situation was like a terrible situation because it was almost like a drug boot camp for you, right?
Well, yeah, it was more than that. It was the fact that it's essentially the juvenile version of privatized prisons. Like, you know about privatized prisons, right? Like,
right.
They do the same thing, but for juveniles. And you're essentially, if you're convicted of a crime, you're essentially a property of the state at that point. And for me, it was, well, I want to go to Los Padrinos or one of these super janky juvenile facilities, or have a chance to get out in 2 months and just go to a little drug program, because that's what they caught, like you said, they caught me for trespassing, vandalism, and I had a few little bags of weed on me, right? But they called that possession to distribute, because this is intent to distribute, this is 1998. And marijuana is still, heavily stigmatized, and it doesn't have the same people, it has weighing out gravity. People looked at it like, real drugs or whatever. So I wound up getting, they knew I was just tagging for real, but they throw all that at me as a chance to go to this program. I take the program, but when you over there, they can kind of do at you what they want. You feel me? So kids are getting done real janky over there for real,
And then you meet a girl during that time that became your first real like relationship, and you guys kind of like bonded over your traumas.
Well, yeah, we was talking through the toilets and shit, you feel me? And then I wound up hooking up with Shorty, and yeah, like she was like, I guess you could say she was my first real love for real. You feel me? She was her. She wound up leaving me for a 25-year-old with a Mercedes, but I guess that was like part of the course. She was 16.
Wow. So what hard drugs did you move on to after that situation?
Oh, being at Anacapa is essentially drug boot camp. I was privy to, first of all, Dr. Lewis and Bill Hoban K. Fuck the people that ran that place. Fuck whatever they got going on. Like, I don't want to get you lamped or sued. You feel me? This is what's the word? You feel me? Alleged. But that whole place was janky. And being over there, being in juvie in general is like, a summer camp for the bad kids. You're going to learn about all the other shit that's cracking off in the other sides of town. This is like pre-social media. So it really gave me like way more connections, and I learned more about drugs. So of course, like I'd already dabbled a little bit, but then like once I got home from Anna Kappa, because at Anna Kappa, they're drug testing you, so you can't really get too busy. You're able to take what you get prescribed, or what you wild out. They'll give you Seroquel. If you really wild out, they're gonna show you Thorazine, aka that booty juice. You don't want that shit because you're gonna hallucinate for like a day and a half as you feel me in a padded room smeared with shit. But you know, you don't want them 7-point restraints or any of that. You tell me. But I had you know, we were doing whatever we could to get high, like making ourselves hyperventilate. It's kind of like doing nitrous. We were like making ourselves hyperventilate. So I remember, because we had the radio, so certain fools had the radio, and I was borrowing the homie's radio, and that song, his 1998 summer, right? So that Fat Boy Slim song, check it out now. It's the funk soul, brother. It's a Lord Finesse sample, you feel me? So I was like, oh shit, it's Lord Finesse on the radio. I didn't know it was like a Fat Boy Slim song or whatever, but yeah. So I had the radio and I made myself hyperventilate, and I remember like depriving the oxygen of my brain, and just like I went to my room to do it as to where I guess I was off camera. So when I did it, that made me you know, we had to do what we had to do to get high. We also snorted the ceiling, which was like, it was, you know, the bungee ceiling, you know, like the kind of bungee
popcorn ceiling.
Yeah, the popcorn ceiling.
Yeah.
So you would use like the top of a shaving cream cans and scrape it, and then you know, bunch that up and snort it. And so we were doing that. I got caught doing it, but for some reason, like the guard, he was an Hell's Angel named Fish. Shouts to bro. He didn't tell on me, because I would have gotten the placement hole and probably got my booty hole played with or some weird shit. Who knows? But yeah, fucking yeah, dude. So I wanted to, when I came home, I was on drug testing. So I was just doing whatever wouldn't get drug tested. So like inhalants or LSD and drinking hella much. But as soon as I was done with that, hell yeah, I'm doing the strongest drugs you could give me.
What was it about drugs that was so alluring to you? Like, did you feel triggers that made you want to forget about things that each time before you took something?
I think that, I mean, maybe on like a psychological level, there could be something there. I think it was more so just how normalized it was, particularly in like West LA, being around there, and the fact that, you know, by the time I was in my late teens, 16, 17, 18, I was deep into the graffiti scene and tag banging and trying to MC and all that. And it was a big part of taking drugs, was just like kind of, it was looked at as like a psychedelic thing. Like, oh, you're doing something artistic. And people had this really weird, there's a period of time where it got misconstrued. And I think a lot of people from LA will know what I'm talking about, in the late 90s, where people just thought that they couldn't really tell the difference between heroin and LSD.
Right. So you got expelled from like 3 different high schools, right?
So I did.
So what happened with that?
So first I got the Fonz's son drunk from private school, and I got expelled. He threw up in our class. Then I got caught smoking weed right outside of uni, around the parking lots. One of my homies' pops was the damn, literally caught me himself. He was the vice principal. So I don't say his name, but YK. And then I went to the continuation version of that school, wound up getting expelled from there for getting into it for like on some graffiti shit. And then I wound up graduating from charter school. And I did that because the secretary was not much older than me. And we were both like 18. And she helped me cheat. Plus, she blessed the player with that dome. So that's why they That's why you can never argue that fat bitches give the best. I mean, like, Anna is proof of concepts. Like, I still miss the dome. She was a legend. She got a terror because of me.
You're crazy, man. Um, from the ages of 16 to 19, you were in like 10 different treatment centers, in and out of so many relationships with different girls during that time. When I've heard you tell your story, it seems like you couldn't stay sober or single long enough to focus on yourself and figure out how to overcome your struggles during that time.
I guess Disney fucked me up, bro. Like, I thought that we were supposed to be with a bitch. You feel me? So, like, I always was chasing that relationship. I was chasing that idealized image. And I think that's, like, for sure, not just the Italian, but the Jewish side. Like, people always like, so do you have a girlfriend? Is she pretty? Like that's just, like, so indentured that even if you're fucked up, if you have a bad bitch, you can't be doing that bad. So, I guess I was always relationship hopping / babe stationing / being a homosexual, you feel me, / yeah, being, because my parents actually were on my helmet enough to give a fuck. Plus, once you enter the system in LA, they had this thing called Action, which a lot of the kids from West LA remember. If you were in the late 90s, like, you had basically all the bad kids, all the kids that had gone to junior drug diversion program had to go to Action, which was like several times a week. It was, like group therapy, but it was all the bad kids of the West Side. So all kinds of shenanigans would occur. So yeah, like, and I was in and out of different treatment centers. They tried. Well, they tried to contain me, but they couldn't.
You've described your home as loving and your parents were loving, but I've also heard you describe your childhood as a bit lonely. And in the later years, you were very desperate for acceptance and for a romantic relationship, right? Um, what do you think that all of this stemmed from?
Well, I think that I kind of, when I was on Soft White Underbelly, and I said, like, I made this comment of, like, oh, I just really want validation. I think that's kind of what was being spoon fed to me by my therapist at the time, and what a lot of people might have kind of misinterpreted. And I think that there's truth. All humans seek validation, but I think it was really, when I really look back, and to this day, is way deeper than seeking validation. It's truly seeking fulfillment as a human being and purpose, which is way deeper than just validation and other people's perspective of me. It's me feeling okay within myself. And I think that, a lot of people talk about the God-sized hole or whatever that emptiness that they experienced is, and however they build it, and drugs and alcohol plus hip hop plus relationships plus, whatever pursuit I had at the time, whatever passion I had at the time, definitely took precedence in that regard, for sure. However, it's kind of how I was raised to be, watching, my dad going from movie to movie, and just everyone in my family going from project to project. That's what always took precedence and was valued, and that's kind of what I value. So it's seeking fulfillment and it's fulfilling my destiny. Do you feel like, what do you feel like? Because I feel like those statements definitely struck a chord with a lot of people. What did you interpret from them?
Well, I can also understand what you're saying with, like, when you're in therapy, when you're in a vulnerable space, sometimes it's easy to believe these people that are considered specialists and what they're saying to you, for you to kind of connect the dots and make sense of certain things. And over time, you might realize that, that's not what it really is. Um, a lot of times in medical fields, or whether it's psychology or even just like, being a doctor and stuff like that, people learn only about a couple of things and then they try to apply it as a blanket statement to like everybody or something. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not a one size fits all
Right.
type of situation. I can see though
a real drive-through diagnosis.
Yeah. I can see though that
Study.
you're in two different places in your life from when you did that interview where you were talking about those things. You seemed a lot more introspective at the time.
Well, no, I feel like I'm still very introspective. I just feel like the way that it manifested at the time was a lot more sensitive, and I'm a bit more callous at this point.
Right. That was what I was going to get
But
to.
because I'm still very introspective, I don't want to get that misconstrued.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I definitely get the point that you were saying about that situation, but it's crazy when you start to do therapy or you start to analyze certain situations in your life and try to make those connections of why you end up making certain decisions in your life. You know what I mean? When you're like connecting all the dots.
No, for sure.
Yeah. So let's get into battle rap, man. When did you start getting into battle rap?
I mean, like, so battle rap was just kind of an extension of being an MC. I didn't really realize it wasn't necessarily a clearly defined subculture. Fools definitely were looking up like battles and freestyle battles and things like that, but it was just like if you were an up and coming MC, like you kind of it would be a good way to help. It wasn't necessarily a prerequisite, but the ability to freestyle and come off the head and defend yourself lyrically, it kind of, that was like a mandatory. And I was always good at freestyling. Like I could freestyle really well. Like a lot of people say they could freestyle, and I don't know what terms they're using to define that, but like off the head, unscripted, for the most part. That's why, I've had some pretty unceremonious moments where I've embarrassed myself freestyling, and that's kind of part of just the impromptu nature of freestyling. But when it comes down to it, the best freestylers in the world look at me the way they do for a reason, because it's just something I've always been able to do. So the battling thing kind of came naturally. And at the time in California, there was a lot of weekly and monthly open mics and battles and just tournaments for money. So in the early 2000s, that whole scene kind of came to fruition between LA and the Bay and Central Cali and all that. And we all kind of were going everywhere and battling. And there's probably like 15 or 20 of us that were somewhat, we knew who was going to win any given tournament type shit. So, but yeah, it started way before that. And just like on the lunch yard, like being like one of the only white boys rhyming when, there's a lot of fools in LA that were hopping off the porch and going crazy, and Project Glowed was in full effect, and fools like Will I Am and Terrace Martin and all these different fools who were rhyming and coming together, and it was a whole thing. So I'm not going to say I was the only one, but being a white boy was a bit of an anomaly at the time, spazzing like I was.
So Grind Time was founded by Mad Illz and Direct, and you got brought in after you battled Unorthodox Phrases, right?
Yeah. So what had happened was in 2007, there's this company called Jump Off that was doing this thing called the World Rap Championships. And in 2006 and 2007, they offered, I think the first one was $10,000, and they had New York and London. And there was maybe 6 teams or 4 teams in each city, 8 teams, I forget. And the homies, the Source and Ilmac, wound up winning the whole entire thing. And there's other homies that were in there too, right? 2007, they wind up expanding it. All of a sudden, it's $50,000 prize, and there's people from all over the place. They have Los Angeles, they have Atlanta, Detroit, New York, Melbourne, Australia, London. There's several divisions. I think there's 8. Toronto, and I forget what the other one, but New York. So they had 8 different divisions across, and literally thousands upon thousands of people trying out. Those of us, a lot of us that made it into our respective divisions wound up and participating successfully, subsequently wound up being the people that made the biggest impact in the next several years of battle rap. People like Hollow the Dawn, No Can Do, Immaculate, Thesaurus, who wound up founding Don't Flop, Organic, who wound up founding King of the Dot, Direct and Mad Illz, who wound up founding Grind Time. And so at the time, we were all waiting for the 2008 the World Rap Championships, but they never happened. Like that company Jump Off never wound up going through with it. So the homie Direct wound up starting to throw battles on his college campus. Mad Illz, being like a more established local MC in Orlando, this is at Central Florida University in Orlando, he kind of helped him branch out. They wind up forming the company together, right? Boom. There's Grind Time. At first, I thought it was kind of bootsy. Like they hitting up everybody that did well in the WRCs. I'm nominated for Most Valuable Rapper. It's 3 in each division. I'm one of the people in LA that winds up getting nominated, whatever. He winds up. I thought it was lame when they first hit me up about it, and I thought their earlier battles were lame. But all of a sudden, this random website pops up called World Star Hip Hop that no one's ever heard of. This is literally 2008 at the same time. One of the battles, Johnny Storm versus Marsh Delton, which was a pretty fucking solid battle, winds up getting $40,000 overnight. Now, really, we know that a TikTok gets $40,000 views in 30 seconds at this point. That's not really a really impressive accolade, but at that time, that meant a lot, especially because World Star Hip Hop didn't have a separate player. It was connected to YouTube, so that channel was getting all the views. So I was like, fuck, let me see what's happening. I wound up going out there and battling, doing well. I kind of had it in my head beforehand, like, look, either y'all finna give me a West Coast division or I'm gonna start my own shit with the homies and we just finna do what it does. They wound up, deciding to partner up, and we became the three-headed dragon, which built and burned to the ground the greatest platform in the early stages of YouTube battle rap history.
In your opinion, what exactly went wrong? Because, man, I remember those days of watching it on World Star, and I remember you guys getting millions of views and like everything was looking good. I will say though, like the West Coast battles were always the most amazing ones because of just how much production value was put into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, shouts to the homie Avocado Kyle Gray, you feel me, for doing his stuff Bizzle and really being a true auteur when it came to putting together the early Grind Time West battles.
Yeah, so what would you say was the main issues that came about that caused Grind Time to fall apart?
There's 3 of us. We're all in our late 20s. There's barely a college degree between the 3 of us. There's an extreme lack of real understanding of experience, the way business is supposed to be conducted. I would say Direct and I were way more in we saw a lot of overlay. Direct kind of wanted, this is like the simplest way I could break it down. We all had different visions for the company. Mad Illz wanted to kind of be like an underground movement that anybody could be a part of and was willing to franchise it out as much as possible. Direct was way more trying to make it a mainstream thing and super segmented and deliberate. And I was kind of a little bit of a blend of all of those things. Like you said, the West Coast is what got grind time popping. Now, shouts to Illz for helping expand it and direct rapping it, the ingenuity, and being my brother to this day, and really being a true innovator and understanding. But like you said, the West Coast set that shit off. We were the ones that hit all the accolades, 100K views the first time, 1 million views for the first time. We're bringing out battlers that had never been a part of underground, quote unquote, nerd rap, scribble jam rap battle culture battling. I put Arsenal, Aver, Calico on their first planes when they're in their early 20s, having them battle for hundreds of dollars. Literally, T-Rex on one of his first times he ever hopped on an airplane, battling against Dizaster and Awkwards and people that were coming up in as lyrical titans in the West Coast scene. This was unheard of. Nobody was doing things like this, and it wasn't a strong business model. It was based on me trying to do the coolest thing fucking possible. Me trying to do something that nobody had ever done. I kind of had the vision that the money's going to come regardless. It's going to be lit. Like, people will understand. You see the momentum. We got in the Source magazine, on motherfucking the Paid Dues Festival, straight to Rock the Bells and the band's Warped Tour, all within the same year. Who the fuck does that without any publicist, any major deal?
That's right. You guys had your own grind time stage, right?
I negotiated all that shit single-handedly. Shouts to Direct and Ilz and everybody for helping. Like really, that's from motherfuckers reaching out to me. You feel me? Like, and that's literally what it was. Like me. Here's a real. And James, what were you about to ask? Because I'll say before you ask, I'll say this. If it was up to me and Direct would have still been running grind time, and it'd still be a huge enterprise. Mad Illz had very different visions. He was trying to do some shit that was like, that we thought was, he was pissing everybody off. Nobody was fucking with him. That's like the actual history. We all know the truth. That's why everybody did. Sure, like certain individuals have their falling outs, but there's one person that wound up kind of being isolated from the whole thing and being the last man standing that wouldn't take his fucking ball home, even though everybody else left the yard, and like, you feel me, like kicked over the sandcastle, but wanted to make sure that he still had his fucking pail and shovel. That was Mad Illz, bro. And like, period, and that is what it was. But what are you about to ask?
No, I was saying though, because like I do remember you guys had like your own stage at like Paid Dues and everything, right? And Rock the Bells, you guys had like the grind time stage. So
yeah, 100%. So at Paid Dues, our stage, and this is, mind you, 2009, 2010, I think it was. So we had fucking Alchemist and Evidence. We got Slaughterhouse right when they first came out. You feel me? This is like right when they dropped it. They were the headliners on the stage. It was shaped like a fucking boxing arena. Greaves performed on there. Greaves and Budo. We had fucking we had Blue and Exile. It was an insane fucking stage for the what was cracking in underground hip hop at that time. Immortal Technique, Sick Jackin', you feel it was crazy, bro. DJ Muggs.
So I remember hearing people complain back in the day. They were saying like
Arnold Crew, fucking Máquina Muerte, you feel me? Long Live Cadillac, Ron, Fives Up.
Yeah, I remember hearing people complain back in the day when Mad Illz started putting in the music videos in between the battles and everything like that.
I mean, if that was the most offensive thing that he did, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. He just like,
right.
He really, and to his credit, I feel like he was trying to do things he wasn't trying to fuck shit up. I think that he felt kind of excluded, and people would rather, what do they say? The child will burn the village down just to feel the warmth from the flames. You feel me? Like, I really kind of feel like that's what Mad Illz was doing at the time. Like, he knew that he was fucking shit up, but it wasn't like intentional. But we all just were really still trying to do some cool shit. He was trying to organize it, but like, I don't know, bro. it got super weird, and it wasn't fun anymore. And to me, like, the whole thing is this. I remember, I forget bro's name. What the fuck? On Howard or Harold Choi, I think his name is. Big brand ambassador, and dude that he used to work with Hennessy. He had made a lot of brands really big, and he told us, and he told me, and this was right when grind time was starting to pop off, maybe like within a year or a year and a half of us popping off. And he said, you know, brands have a 3 to 5 year shelf life while they're still cool. Like, make sure you go get your fucking Scooch Liani, get it while it still makes sense, because at a certain point it's going to feel forced. And I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, bro, like, I know that what we doing is legit. This ain't about being cool. But he was absolutely right. It wound up kind of imploding on itself. Grind time didn't mean the same thing. When Direct, the guy that created it, leaves, this is his baby. This is like his blood, sweat, and tears. This is his vision. He winds up leaving. You know, like you said, it looks so cool. That's because of Kyle Gray, Avocado. He dips. All these people are dipping. Lush One, who wound up making that shit sexy as hell. You feel me? Dips. Sexy as hell. Like, you know, like.
No, but you know the Battle of the Bay, Grizzlemania, all that stuff like that. Those.
That's like, you feel me? Like, so everybody, like Poison Pen, wound up leaving. You feel me? Like, PH wound up leaving, like, you know, Jerry Juice lit. Like, bro, is that Sonny Bamboo? I can name a million people. Quest Cody, blah 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 blah. Sid Vicious, Chris Petty. Is a million people. Like,
but what I'm saying though is like the you know, Battle of the Bay, Grizzlemania, all that stuff like that. It was looking so good, right? Do you feel like there was some jealousy on Mad Illz part because you guys were getting it so popping on the west side? On the West Coast. Sorry.
What? I mean, first of all, we were like flamboyant, only the way, like, especially you got to understand, this is at a time when people weren't really looking at the West Coast as a place of cultural or lyrical supremacy within the context of hip hop. Although it's funny that there's blood and Crip sets all across the world and this and that. People, this is before Kendrick is popping. This is before, you feel me? This is like fresh off the steam of the hyphy movement and things like that. And there isn't really, like, we really helped provide an identity for people from the West that wanted to be lyrical, where it didn't seem like there was any destination for you. And we kind of gave that. There would be no Daylights and Geechee Gottis and Rum Nitties and Danny Myers and all these people that, you know, who knows what we would have seen as far as the, you know, the Absol and Schoolboys and, you know, subsequent Ray-Bons, et cetera, blah, 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 whatever. You feel me? There's so many, you know, Pistol McFlies, whatever. There's so many people, but it really, battle rap kind of helped. We were playing Boston. So we were making fools realize, yeah, this is the West. This is our culture. We got better weed. We got better bitches. Fuck around and you might get shot. But we are some cool shit. You feel me? Like, particularly at the time we were up in the Bay Area and doing a lot of this shit. We're in Oakland. You feel me? Which is like a city that, you know, known for a lot of negative things. We're kind of painting it in a light that is way. I feel like the tourism board of Oakland in 2008 to 2012 owe us a lot of money because we really turned out. We have people coming and staying in downtown Oakland from all across the world. You feel me? Like, and connecting LA to the Bay. Yeah, of course. Like I said before, the child that doesn't feel the warmth of the community is going to burn it down just to feel the warmth from the flames. You feel me? He's going to feel the warmth from the flames to burn down the community as a result. Like, Matt Illz never felt like he was included in that. Like, and it wasn't just that, because there's other regions like what Cap had going on in Florida, what PH and J's, and then what Penn subsequently wound up having cracking in New York. You know, Illz has never really been able to create what the battle rap scene looked at as a formidable circuit. like all the circuits that he was a part of and that he to curates were always, yeah, he might get the super discount rate for Cassidy to do a one rounder against Johnny Storm. We already know his fire and has battled in all these other divisions and shit, but like he never curated the Orlando scene. It was direct and then Cap and then, you know what I mean? Like it was other people. He never had his real, benchmark. He was just kind of the guy that was Dad Illz, we used to call him. He was trying to assert excess authority when it didn't really need to, because one of the things that made what we were doing exciting was the combustibility of it, was the fact that it was unpredictable, was the fact that it was not something that you could just put in you never knew what was going to happen. I mean, you never knew. Maybe we're going to go OT. Maybe somebody's going to fucking wind up doing some wild shit. We're getting fucking parodied in different skits and movies. We have major athletes co-signing us and celebrities and artists that want to be down just by us doing this ourselves, by having fun,
When was the last time you spoke to Mad Illz?
He was tripping on me like a couple of years ago because I was coming to host a GTX, which was like the resurgence version of Grind Time event in Orlando. And the dude, Lubera, that I was doing it with, he don't fuck with. So he was like super, in his fucking, he was super upset about it. And I tried to be mad cool. And I tried to like still be accommodating and inclusive and show love. And, at this point, that's why I ain't got no beef with Mad Illz, but it's like, dude, like, bro, like, I'm talking about Grind Time because you're asking me about it. This is not something I ever referenced. This is something that I contributed way more to than Mad Illz ever could. You look at all the top viewed battles on that channel, it's videos that I curated and or hosted. Literally the top 43 of the top 50 videos, and most of these have well over 1 million views, are shit that I put together. Like, I don't even think about that shit. I've had like several career arcs and, personal tragedies and like exciting things happen since then. I don't even think about Grind Time. Like that's essentially like me in college. I didn't go to college. I helped throw battle rap events that I thought were cool. But this fool's like doing TED Talks and talking to people about how he created battle rap on. I'm like, all right, bro, have that. You feel me? Recently, like, did an AI video of battling fucking a slice of pizza. This is like what we're dealing with right now. I'm not even talking shit. It's like, he got mad at me because I came to Orlando. Again, he felt like he wasn't included or has some type of seniority. If he was able to put something fire together that was worthy of the Grind Time / GTX banner, it would have been happening. Nobody affiliated with Grind Time fuck with him regardless. So it's just like.
But prior to that situation that you talked about from a few years ago, did you guys have any discussions in between when you left until that time?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, bro, like, I was like fucking going. I mean, first of all, anytime I could, like, I felt like it was applicable, or if he was doing some weird shit or something came up about it for me to torture. And I'm not going to like rehash the specifics, but there was like we could talk about all of my unbecoming incidents. Like, we could talk about, like, you feel me, like me getting arrested when I'm 5. I don't want to talk about Mad Illz unbecoming incidents, but they exist. You feel me, in abundance. And I chose at the time to be very petty and just make fun of it and use the strength of my loyal cultist devoted fans to kind of pick on him. And then after I got sober and was just vibrating at a much higher frequency, I wound up interviewing Hobson, and he felt left out because I didn't mention him as one of the creators of Grind Time, even though it was like a brief moment in a long interview and I didn't want to describe it. It's like, once you're so insignificant that you have to become the footnote of a footnote in history, it's like, okay, dude, I'm sorry I didn't mention the fucking color of the loafers that you wore when you're fucking out of quinceañera. Like Jesus fucking Christ. Like, it's not that important at this point. Like, dude, like, but he was battling, oh, the homie Direct started this shit called Grind Time, da, 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 da. So he took great offense to that. So I wanted talking to him, apologizing, because I wanted to, like, take the higher road, and was like, you know what, let's keep it cool, Hills. And I was cool until, I'm still cool, but he got mad when I went and made some money hosting an event in Florida that, like, fucking has less than 20,000 views collectively on YouTube, which, to be fair, is like more than Mad Illz have got in the past several years. But, like, to me, that's kind of like not something that's like a 10-second interval.
Right. So over the years, it's been highlighted that a lot of it had to do not only because there wasn't organization with like contracts and like full plans laid out for the people, right? But money. Money was a very big issue where, like, I think that he posted on Reddit, people said that he found missing funds on sponsors being used for personal flights, gear, personal projects, things like that. You've spoken about you were owed money that you were not paid, and it's been a long time. So that never got fixed or anything. The money situation never got fixed.
No, I mean, like, the thing is, I mean, look, bro, when it comes to Grind Time, I'm in the red by a significant margin. I put everything I had. I was like flu flaming my fucking girlfriend at the time's credit cards, like literally like using everything I could, like selling packs, making shit make sense in order to fund, you feel me, events that were barely, if not breaking even at all. And whatever sponsorship came in was only to help further the brand. And the fact that he felt some type of entitlement when he was doing literally nothing but hindering the growth of the company at the time, like, made literal sense. You feel me? Like,
and Direct actually defended you too, saying that, like, when it came to events, you would scrape together like every last dime to make sure things went smoothly.
I mean, dude, that's the thing. When oftentimes I'd be ending those events in debt. You feel me? And I would have to wind up cutting checks and paying battlers. You feel me? And I did. Or bang, steal or borrow. Everybody got paid. Through the entirety of my career.
Would you ever consider doing a documentary on Grind Time?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I feel like at this point it's kind of a part of a greater tale. But yeah, I understand the importance of just that, the cultural significance of just that, and I don't want to downplay it. And I would love to. I just, I feel like the battle rap has expanded so much, you know what I'm saying?
Because I know Grind Time eventually became a punchline, right? That people would like use in a negative way of like, oh, that battle rap league.
Okay, so let me explain that. That was happening while Grind Time was still popular. And, so when Grind Time became popular, like I said, it was the perfect storm of a climate to enable the success of Grind Time, the advance of world star hip hop, the popularization of YouTube, and there being no platforms that are utilizing this. 106 in Park getting canceled. Freestyle Fight Club getting canceled. Smack no longer producing DVDs. Essentially, the bullies were off the playground, and we were swinging from them motherfucking monkey bars, going down them slides. We had full control of the shit. Grind Time ran that shit, particularly in America, because around the same time, King of the Dots getting their shit jerking, shots to Organic up in Long Live Bishop Brigante, shots to Belly up there in Toronto, and and them were getting their shit cracking, shots to Kruger and all them in London with Don't Flop. But yeah, Grind Time was like the international face of battle rap. As we start to get jerking, Smack realizes, oh shit, I think people are bringing it to his attention. A lot of it came from the fact that we were supposed to have, PH was throwing a battle, Long Live the Homie PH, you feel me, was throwing a Math Hoffa versus T-Rex. The funding winds up falling through. Math Hoffa was managed by Norbs. Norbs had a relationship with Smack. He contacts Smack. Smack winds up seeing the popularization of the whole entire thing that he kind of helped get huge from the DVD era. He's like, fuck it. Let me, no pun intended, get this, let me step in the arena. Let me get this league set off. So he winds up getting URL cracking at that exact time. URL is known for that hard body, gritty NYC shit. We're kind of, grind time, although we had shit like that. Don't get it twisted. Like, this is where Conceited first blew up. This is where the entire jungle movement out of Stockton first blew up. The entire punchline template that's used to this day, that quantum physics, QP and all them created, shouts to Heartless, shouts to Fox, shouts to all them. To this day, that shit is from grind time. That was, but grind time had this stigma of being more funny, less serious. The New York hard body shit kind of looked down on it, and it was part of the marketing scheme of the popularization of URL to be like, oh, that's that quote unquote grind time shit. But it's funny because if you look at the very early graphics that URL put out, it was like a bunch of fools in the hood, and there was like people laughing. You feel me? It was just like a little bit less ethnically diverse and more catered towards specifically like the Black hood community. And it wound up being the biggest thing of all time. So shouts to them. And like I said before, Smack already, was a huge influence of mine as far as, curating content. This fool was not only doing rap battles, but was on Lil Wayne's tour bus and pulling up on Gucci Mane and, had all kinds of shit with Max B and Sack Bundles and shit in the trenches that fools weren't even privy to at the time.
Yeah, and I brought that up to say that, while people made fun of grind time, like the influence was undeniable on all the other leagues around.
I mean, like beyond all other leagues, just like battle rap on YouTube. When you saw them super hot fire skits, he's making fun of the jungle. That's like grind. That's Conceited versus Tall T. You feel me? That's literally a reinterpolation of that. So, the influence is clearly there. There's no digital footprint bigger than what grind time did. We had at our peak divisions in 10 different or 11 different North American cities, plus Australia, South Africa. Like, we were doing things that nobody had ever done before. So, that's I could take solace in that. And I understand that with every changing of the guard in hip hop involves it being, especially like this is battle rap. Well, they don't, like Tom Hanks said, in a league of their own, they don't cry in baseball. Once you start getting motherfucking played out, you're going to get roasted. And that's when the new kid is finna come. You feel me? So it is what it is. Like, I think retroactively, fools know that grind time was a shit, and we really influenced this whole entire way. If they don't know, now they know.
Right. So Fresh Coast breaks away from grind time, and you guys join King of the Dot, or how does that connection happen?
So I was already cool with organic since the time we were super young. Like, I think organic, there's this website and it's funny because hearing Copyright's interview and the Demigods beef, which apparently I think was it Apathy said that he has a different take on than what Copy said. So I'm curious to hear what I've got to say.
I spoke to Apathy too, so shout out to Apathy. Hopefully we get an interview in eventually, but yeah, I think he said that he's gonna address that situation, was self-titled on his podcast. And
okay, it's on Self's podcast. Okay,
no, on Apathy's podcast, but Self is gonna be on it with Self. Yeah, okay. Exactly.
Okay, and so it's just funny because like message board was a great way to. A lot of your fans from underground hip hop at that time were from overseas, so there's no better way to connect than with message boards. Mm-hmm. As nerdy and as kind of lame as it might sound, it was actually kind of slick. And I was hacking Where's chat rooms back on AOL in the mid to early 90s, and I was freaking phones and doing all that shit. So, like the big phone era when we was getting paged and all. So, to me, it was kind of had a different accent to it. It was part of counterculture. But we were there's this website called RMBVA, used to be called rapmusic.com. And on there, that's where that shit started. What was the original question again?
Of the Fresh Coast partnering with King of the Dot and how that.
Yeah. So on RMBVA, that was like the entirety of the battle scene. There's probably like 100 active battle rappers in the world, and they all congregated on there. Organic was one of them from the time he was a super young age. I want to say, because I'm probably like 4 or 5 years older than bro. He was like 16 at the time. And his name used to be Mike Tyson Organic. And he was battling Full Sail in Toronto at the time and going crazy with it. And he, because of just us being cool, when Grimes and him being in the WRCs in Toronto and me being in LA, we kind of just had this rapport that when King of the Dot was cracking up, I was always very supportive of their shit. And they were supportive of us. They used to put Grind Time in the intro to the battles. They would put our logo, and we always showed love. There are certain times where, I'm not going to say who, there's like dissension in the ranks, and people try to form a Grind Time Canada and go against Organic. And I wound up being like, you know what? Organic's my dog. I can't allow this to happen. We had way more power than them at the time, which is hard to believe because, you know, they're the longest running battle rap league in the world. But at the time, Grind Time kind of had that juice, you feel me? And I hit up Organic. I'm like, hey, yo, Potty's trying to slide on you. They trying to fucking, they try to Fredo and the Godfather your ass right quick, player. You feel me? You better be on your P's and Q's. So based on that, when things kind of started deviating from Grind Time, and a bunch of my personal people that I had helped put on and were my friends, like not only from a technical perspective, like Kyle Brain, like I said, but Disasters, the Soul Cons and Roans and fucking the Thesaurus and all these different battle Ilmax, and everybody was kind of going over there, and made sense for all of us. It was clear we had to get the fuck out of my no jumper. It was an internment camp essentially at that point. I'm not no jumper, sorry. We had to get out of fucking 40 slip, just playing. We had to get out of Grind Time. It was essentially a concentration camp at that point. We had to get the fuck up out of there. So would it have been better for us to just be like, we the Fresh Coast, we don't get our own shit set off? Or did it make more sense to kind of click up with the homies to kind of already have their own momentum? We could bring our momentum to the table. I never came into Grind Time trying to be an owner. I wanted inheriting ownership because I put so much into the company that my sweat equity was that valuable that they kind of, in order for it to make sense, it was such an unfair balance of power that they had to make me an owner of the company, and Direct kind of understood that. So, and he had already dipped and made Rap Raid. So I was like, fuck it. I felt like the most selfless thing to do would be to click up with King of the Dot. Now, we wound up doing that. That's around the time where Drake wound up hopping on board, and I linked up with Drake and Organic and all that. Like, so.
What was Mad Ill's reaction when you guys linked up with King of the Dot?
Okay. So, I feel bad, but like,
but if you don't want to talk about it, it's okay too.
No, I don't give a fuck, bro. Like, I'm talking about shit. Fuck Mad Illz, bro.
You just said that you ain't got no beef with them, so
no, I don't. But I'm just saying, like comparatively speaking, it's like not that big of a deal. Like, you know what I mean? Not fucking for real. I'm just saying it's not that deep. This fool, when I left Grind Time, he cried. He was on a phone. It's okay to cry. I cried sometimes. It's all right to cry. He cried.
He cried on the phone with you?
Yeah, he did.
So he was trying to convince you to stay?
No, there's no convincing.
No. Was he trying to, though? Was he trying to convince you to stay?
No, it was more. I think it was more like he was surprised. He was like, I don't know, like, you know, like when you're if you're like dating a bitch for a while, but she don't like you no more. You feel me? Like there's signs.
No, see, now you comparing him, and that's not a good.
No. Okay, fine. It's your parents then. Let's say it's your parents.
Okay.
Let's say it's your. Let's say I'm the girl. I don't care. It's not like I'm the girl in this scenario. Clearly, not because it's not like a masculinity thing, but like I'm the coveted item that has, now I got fucking Brock with a handsome lifeguard in the 401k who's gonna fucking sweep me off my feet and get me a book job. Like, and Mad Illz ain't getting it right. You feel me? Like, so clearly, so no, I think that, when you're in that, you see your parents fighting, you see that dad's staying later at work, mom's not putting the same oomph she is into that tuna casserole, there's less seasoning. And it just is what it is at a certain point. Like the writing is on the wall, the relationship is over, but you don't want to admit it. Matt Illz knew that I'm way too cool to be affiliated with a brand that you've tarnished in this degree, player. Like, I'm fucking left. Oh, you see me, baby. Like, I'm out here, you feel me, wiggling, juggling and finessing, getting to it. I'm a cultural staple. I'm going to make 7 movements out of my bare hands in the time that you've continued to attempt to grift on what you did. Actually, I did 15 years ago when Direct started. You feel me? Like, come on, play it. What? You know the truth? You feel me? Like, so, yeah. Like, I was already, like, he probably in the back of his head knew. That's why there wasn't like, come on, bro. Nah, you need to say, he knew it was kind of already a rap. Like, I was already, I had to force moan when he was hitting it. You feel me? Like, I had to stoop fake moans. Like,
bro,
I had to,
man.
like,
Yo, this is
no,
wild.
did he?
This is wild.
No, did he?
Yo, but what was Direct's response when
Direct had already cut it. He dipped already.
No. I'm sorry. What was Mad Ill's response when Direct left though? Did he say anything to you directly?
Now that the black guy's out the way, it's me and just playing up. He was like, he was obviously like, I think he was kind of looking for a trauma bond partner at that point. Because I can't believe that Direct did us like this. Like, and at that point, there was so much cultural capital in what Poison Pen had been doing in the New York side of things. And Mad Illz always had a relationship with Technique and was kind of that based on, I think Technique was kind of being cool, like, yo, Pen, just like thug it out with Mad Illz, like, just do your thing. And Matt and Poison Pen saw the power of being able to put on as much people as possible. The New York division still wasn't tainted. It was like, at that point, the West Coast shit was kind of clapped. Everybody had already dipped. Everybody's already king of the dot. Those are kind of over it. There's still a lot of burgeoning talent with New York. The upstate division, shouts to Just One, is still going on. Like, there's still a little bit of hope. It makes them kind of have a wave, and there's still talented artists coming from there. So I think he was kind of leaning heavily on that. So it's kind of like me, you, and Penn are going to bear the burden. And then, so before I even told Penn, or before I even told Illz, I told Penn, like, hey, fool, like, it's all you, player. Like, I can't even do this anymore. And he's like, hey, I feel you on me. Like, I'm going to thug it out. Like, I was kind of surprised. Like, but Penn, I kind of thought Penn was going to just dip at that moment. But Shotzi, he's loyal to such a degree. And I think he had a lot of emotion. It just made sense for him to just see the project through. So, at that point. And there was still 1 or 2 decent grind time events. And shouts to Poison Pen, Judge Vega, now known as Flaco Bale, Lady Bros, and Sarah Connor, as well as Just One, for keeping that lit in the interim.
Why didn't you and Mad Illz do a battle for the ownership of Grind Time? That would have been crazy.
I mean, like, he would have got smoked really, really bad. Like Mad Illz raps really good from, like, a technical standpoint. Like, he's a great performer, and he understands, like, the intricacies, and it's all like, got a lot of skills, but a rapper on the bill, with a pop of the band, with a chopper on the bills. You feel me? Like he understands it, you know what I'm saying? Like, throw punch like a ball, rock, you know, with a mob cocktail, and then like he can do all that, but when it comes to really dissecting somebody's character in the mind and everything, like we're in different plateaus, and even has not something that artistically is interesting to me in any capacity. I would have to get such a he was talking about doing it, and they was talking about a battle rap tour where I was gonna get like it was gonna be some gay ass shit, like whatever. I had to like see him every night, but I was able to have a budget of $2,500 so I can have my own band and bring my own people, and then have a set affiliated with it so I can like perform and sell blah 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 blah. And I was supposed to walk away from it with like, you feel me, like 75 bands, but obviously his ineptitude was unable to book a single fucking date, and I wasn't with it because it'd be in his best interest to battle rap me. Now, like, he could like make an entire album about me and it wouldn't bat an eyelash. Like, I hope, like, I wouldn't give a fuck. Like, it doesn't, like, I have an important artistic message and it doesn't coincide with anything. Like, his name and his brand is far removed from mine, and the greatest, like punch to his gut that I could ever do. It's like, now, because of this interview, our name is going to be reintroduced to the algorithm, and I'm totally fine with that because this is where I am, and this is where you are. You know,
people never ask you about grind time in interviews.
Normally, it's like this Panda Chop, and like we made sure that this is going to be one of them ones right here. So yeah, like, of course, people will bring it up and shit, but like, nah, fool. Like, I have so much more lore that's way more interesting. Like that's like part of my foundation. Yeah, like, but not really. Like, it might get referenced.
Got you.
Not even in battle rap. Like even in battle rap, that's not what gets referenced to me at this point. Like.
How many events did you end up doing over there at King of the Dot?
Several. So I was with King of the Dot. Got the fucking maple leaf today. You see it under the dress shirt, like ZZ Top said. Everything I crazy about a sharp dressed man. You feel me? It's my little lounge lizard attire. This when you see Lush One, you feel me? This him. I'll say so from 2012 to 2014, I did several King of the Dot events, and then starting again in 2016, I started working peripherally through Kyle Gray and the Bunker, and then was a part of King of the Dot staff at Massacre 3 in 2017 until season 2 in 2022.
Wow. All right, so
yeah, one of those runs in King of the Dot was significantly longer than, although it might have been like culturally so relevant, what we did with grind time, like what I spent like a larger portion of my life with King of the Dot by a significant margin.
Right. What years did you manage Dizaster's career?
So I've never actually been like Dizaster's manager. I've been his business partner for years, and spoke on his behalf in several capacities, and booked him, and been a huge hand in ushering the human tornado that is the Lebanese legend himself in to the hearts and souls of the world at large. I'm essentially the Suge Knight to his Tupac without the connotations.
Right. But you were like there for like everything, obviously. So like, about every controversy, every situation pretty much.
Yeah, I was a part of him.
Yeah.
It started with me battling him in 2007, and then then I called him. He was in Beirut in 2008, and he came back and battled the Source on Grind Time, and he's been on a tear through there since, battling Canibus to the Math Hoffa incident to Cassidy to being the most internationally recognized battle rapper of all time to battling in several languages, his entire trajectory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shouts to my brother. He's more like a brother to me. You feel me? Like I could never say he's my artist. He's definitely my son. Like, you feel me? He's my kid. Like, he's my brother of your show.
Yeah. Shout out to Dizaster, man. So I want to
But
touch.
call him right now. He'd be like, "Fuck you." He'd be like, that's my brother. Like,
Yo, you guys still close to this day?
of course,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's cool, man. So I want to talk about the Math Hoffa situation, right? Give me your take on that, because when I watched like some of the earlier interviews after the situation had happened, you also obviously didn't co-sign what Diz did, but then I didn't know if you had to do that. You had to publicly come out and say that just for legalities.
Well, I mean, like beyond. First of all, legalities is this. I fucking and this is why me and Hoffa are cool to this day, is because just by and you know obviously think about inflation and think about the pay scale in battle rap, which is significantly larger now. But he had already gotten a flight hotel and like 5,500 six bands to do the battle, and I shot him another $5,000 for the inconvenience just on KP as a result. So that's why when there was talks of legal action and this and that afterwards, I wasn't included in that, despite being the curator of the event and the liaison and person that acting on behalf of King of the Dot. As far as me saying that, like obviously it's a fucked up thing that happened. No, it's like the last thing that should have happened, and it's janky that that Math Hoffa went to a battle rap event essentially feeling free and ready to perform. And Diz, to be honest with you, he did not. It wasn't a premeditated thing. He didn't go there with that in mind. But the confidence, energy that had been created between the two of them before, which when you harness is perfect for a rap battle, but just kind of got a little bit out of hand, and then the mayhem that ensued.
Did you understand both sides as to why they were upset with each other?
Both sides. I mean, well, yeah, like you're talking about prior or after the battle?
Prior to the battle, like why was
Yeah,
there
I mean,
really-
absolutely. They were both boisterous, cocky. So really, so during, like I said, and this kind of goes back to what I said earlier. And when people watch this in its entirety, they can see the callback to it. But the West was being very outspoken and boisterous and kind of standing on business and talking shit when it came to West Coast shit and kind of like coast banging. So when Diz went out there and battled Swave Seva and he kind of got into it with Hollow, there was contentious energy, and Matt low-key pressed him. He got up on him and shit, and it was on some other shit. And then Diz kind of carried that with him, and then whatever happened is total slaughter afterwards, and then the energy that they had and the shit talking, it was kind of, so I understood why Diz felt like he needed that 1,000%. But then I also feel like, obviously Math Hoffa, also, keeping in mind Math Hoffa had already hit Dose and Serious Jones in rap battles. So there's like this kind of just aura of danger anytime Math is in a battle, because he's already done it twice, and then it kind of is
he kind of played the bully role.
I was also pretty heavy ecstasy. I was on a lot of Molly when that happened, and I saw, like, I could literally saw the space-time continuum work in front of me. I saw like the punch in slow motion. I heard it 3 seconds before I saw it, and it was like, yeah. And the ramifications were deep. Obviously, like I said earlier, my relationship with New York, like, isn't something that I can just get rid of or have any questions. So I had to kind of make sure that things were cool. But I stand on what I said on Vlad. Like, it definitely wasn't right what happened to Matt in any capacity.
Okay. And was there really going to be a fight, a celebrity boxing match or whatever after that?
I mean, several people have attempted to do that, but never make it past like the securing budget / legislation phase. So I've heard a million great ideas, as we all have, like, wouldn't it be great if Nas and AZ just did an album right now? Like, you feel me? Like, it's called Life's a Bitch, and it was, like a firm collab album, and Pete Rock and Primo and Large Professor and all the beats. Like, you got fucking $5 million, you feel me?
Right. So throughout the years, there seemed to be multiple attempts that were made where it was like, okay, they might have peace, they might not, and then like there's this interview, it seems like everything's okay, and then there's not, and like there's this post, and was there ever a time where it was really close to like they were cool with each other again after that?
I mean, like, I would say like there's been proactive or semi like decent dialogue. Math has had incredible success. Diz has had incredible success. They both, did their thing, and they're both too rich to really be tripping, in my opinion. Still, like, if a motherfucker need a fade to get over it, I guess it is what it is. It's not really for me to say how you should feel internally as a man and to dictate that. I think it would be incredible to see them sit down, and that's an easy, like, a huge podcast. And who's to say, like, does Matt still need that fair one? I would hope to say that he's past that point, but again, that's on him as a man to decide really what time it is. I think that there's got to be a statute of limitation at some point. This ain't fucking Princess Bride. You feel me? You killed my father, prepare to die. Like, come on, bro. Like, at what point do we gotta you gotta hang up the saber?
Because we're talking over a decade now, right?
It was in 2014, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. So wow, okay. Yeah, but that would be dope to be on My Expert Opinion. That would be a huge episode to see them two have a conversation and really talk it out.
I would love to see it. I'm here for it. You feel me? Like, I think that per my understanding of Diz like had assurance that it was going to be on a positive level and it was going to be like that, I don't see why he would, you know what I'm saying? Like, there'd be no reason for him not to. I can see it being potentially lucrative for both parties involved. Come on, guys. You both been stand up, now sit down.
Yeah, shout out to both of them, man. That would be great for the culture. All right. October 2009, right? Talk about a Jin versus Dizaster starts to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Why did the battle not happen?
So, like, here's like the crazy thing about that. I got trolled into the battle happening. It was never, I got contacted by somebody on behalf of Jin, but it was supposedly just a random fake email. This is when 2009, you were kind of able to, even that's late in the game for that, but due diligence wasn't as much of a thing, particularly in our scene. And once I received the email, I wound up making an announcement, and that kind of and even I kind of knew in the back of my head, even if this isn't real, I'm going to create a climate as to where this puts the demand on Jin to at least make some type of verbal response. Because remember, at this time, Jin is a huge star you feel me, overseas in Asia. He's on fucking billboards. He's literally like a huge artist in, he did his thing on Rough Riders and all that, but his success as an artist out here compared to Asia pales in comparison. Like, he was really a joint out there. So it kind of made sense. It made sense for him to not want to do the battle, but at the same time, it made sense for us to try to get him to. And so we did, and he wound up responding to it. I think the craziest thing beyond like the battle not happening just because the business wasn't there and there was, no real clear communication between either party at a certain point, and what the expectations for an artist of Jin's caliber was, we were not able to meet. So it kind of just became, oh, Jin didn't show up, fuck this guy. I don't think anyone's ever really said this, but shouts to Jin, he didn't do anything wrong. That was like I low-key, we didn't have that budget in place ever. It just never existed.
Well, there was a video of you trying to stop Dizaster from doing this rap, and he says that you got an email from Jin's manager talking about gonna sleep on your couch and stuff like that, because like.
Well, again, no. Remember what I just said a second ago. This was like a lot of the things that were said was through a troll account. The troll
Okay,
account.
so that was the troll account. Got you. Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's a good chance the troll. I think that he did say as far as accommodations, like that there was, and things like that didn't fully add up. However, it definitely could have been. It could have been just like Diz or us putting extras on it to make it sensationalized for the battle, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then I remember.
It wound up not happening. It sucks that Jin wound up getting thrown under the bus, like kind of like, oh, he didn't show up for the battle, like fuck Jin. No, actually, he was never actually contracted for it. The craziest thing was Dizaster's "Mother Love You Long Time," which became an insane viral thing that was attributed in so many things and just like used in meme culture several times over, and it's like, you know, inherently super racist and or funny depending on how you look at it.
You're talking about the song "Love Me Long Time," sucky 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 one, right?
Yeah. You know that's Diz, right?
Yeah.
And that was like a Jin diss essentially in its original form. However, has like hundreds of. There's probably not a song attributed to battle rap unless you want to like include Eminem and major artist contributions that has been heard more than "Mother Love You Long Time," if we're being honest.
Wow.
Just based on meme culture and the fact that they probably do got over a Billy Pop, like, yeah.
Well, I remember Jin, when he had responded, he had said that the conditions were that it would be in LA, there was no timed rounds, and also he wanted to battle Immaculate the same exact day.
Right. So what that entailed was then whatever Jin's purse was, whatever accommodations and travel that was, on top of the Immaculate and Dizaster. So for the price of, you know, was it worth it in retrospect? If we could have got it, just didn't seem feasible based on what we were doing. And at that event, that was December 31st, 2009. And we already had a huge card, and we were already, like I said earlier, I'm spending my own last dollar on whatever budget we had for these events. So, you know, like, it didn't really feasibly make sense. This is also the early stage. I think we had 9-5 Eiler who would give us like a band and like a gang of sunglasses, and we had I Am King, and shouts to the homie Chris Grunge, gold coin, lace us up with gear. Like, we didn't really have that many monetary sponsors at this point so it's all kind of coming out of pocket.
Right. And then like you had this interview with Diz and Desource, and you're talking about Jin saying that he wanted to create his own battle rap league or something like that, and you were hoping that it wasn't going to be true.
There was murmurs of that at one point, I believe, him saying that. We were also at the time super territorial because like right now, you know, you throw a hat in any given city and there's multiple battle leagues. There's multiple entrepreneurs, Svengalis, whatever you want to call them, curators, people putting together rap battles and uploading the content to YouTube, doing pay-per-views, selling merch, that business model. At the time, in America, there's only a limited amount, if any, doing that, period. So we were really anybody that, and like when there was larger entities, when there was like big business or people that would come into battle rap with a paycheck trying to swing their dick around, it normally would have, no pun intended, disastrous results, and it really wouldn't be cool. So we were kind of protected, and to a degree still are, despite the crass commercialization of battle rap at this point, you know.
So didn't at one point Jin feel like Dizaster was going too out of his way, taking it a little too far, and that's when he receded from the situation, like he kind of like retreated, was like, you know what, I don't want to do it anymore?
Yeah, and that's true. And before I even had a chance to be held accountable for a paycheck, he did back out in the battle. I don't know if there was deposits and things of that nature, if it would have been secured. But Diz had a blog, which has since been removed, where he was getting at Jin in a, I don't even want to say what it was because Diz and Jin are super cool now and we love Jin, but it was he took things a bit far and close to home. I'll say that. It was a bit close to home. And as far as, I'm not going to get too specific, but it was insanely disrespectful. Admittedly, at the time, people thought it was hilarious and World Star was all over it, but Jin kind of took a step back. And this is after several, like all the you eat dog, like the typical Asian jokes that were tropes and used very commonly in battle rap at that time, that Dumbfounded and Tantrum and A-Class and the popular battle rappers that were Asian at the time had to deal with, and Jin himself. That was whatever. That was already what he did was a little bit more severe than that, and that definitely changed the dynamic for sure.
Right. And it's so dope to see that they're cool now. You know what I mean? And over the years, I've seen them shout each other out in various different platforms.
I mean, Jin's a fucking goat when it comes to freestyling and battle rap. You gotta, if you don't respect Jin, like the fact that he stepped in the King of the Dot and did that 2-on-2, that moment with the Hillback and all that was amazing because, from a fan perspective, just Jin was one of them guys. Like, he set the standard. He was a precedent. He was damn near like if not the Jordan logo, you feel me? The Jerry West, you feel me? He's definitely an insanely deeply ingrained part of battle rap culture.
Right. All right, so let's talk about the battle with Canibus, right? I know you see my interviews with M80 where he's talking about that situation. Shout out to M80, that's my guy, man. What are your thoughts on that?
You know what? It's so crazy because at the time when all this was happening, and here's how cold, I told you I had a cold M80 story. This is how slick and about his business and just shrewd and no nonsense and what a chess player M80 is. And I was taken aback at the time because I thought me being from LA and in the Bay Area, I was smashing as far as certain aspects of the industry that people might not have been privy to, but I hadn't encountered something like this quite yet. And this is still early on for me. I'm 30 years old. This is 2011. We're setting this up in early 2012. And so, first of all, Canibus is like the holy grail of battle rap at this time. Like, he's the most respected, coveted lyricist, and he's always battling. In every verse is a battle. Even the intro to 2000 BC, his second album, is I'll battle you on the net, I'll battle you on, what I'm saying? He'll battle you, but guess what? We ain't seen a single fucking face-to-face Canibus battle ever. I'm not saying they don't exist. When I'm a battle rap historian, I'm collecting footage from different eras, seeing shit that no one's ever seen before. Battles that are the thing of mystery, like the original Percy P and Lord Finesse, and shit that people don't know exists that I've seen footage of, but I can't verify. Can you, Panda? Have you seen?
No.
Okay. But he did have the hardest verses. You feel me? Before honor saves, sign the paper that freed slaves, I existed in the garden to eat and get and live to stick dick to eat before she was at his mistress. Before Christ created Christmas, I've been in lyrical fitness. You feel me? Like, we all knew that shit by heart from the top. So he was like a fabric of battle rap and is like a huge part of, like the influence of what we all listen to. So it was always he went back and forth with LL Cool J. He did this and that, and kind of Eminem, but no one had seen him battle. It was kind of like we didn't think it was something that was actually possible. M80, I met M80 years prior in 2007. So I first met M80. He was he was more on his MC shit, and he was running around with Killer Priest. I think he had maybe just started managing Priest or working with Priest. He ran into me at a few radio stations doing some freestyles. He ran into the crew a couple times. We were in Herb Next 100 at the time. Like, I remember him showing love on that. He was like, "Oh, I see you everywhere." He's seen us down in Dago. I think at Copper Lounge we had a show. You know me, or Copper Lounge, and so we were over there. And around that time, he asked, because we had booked. Oh yeah, we had booked Killer Priest like for a couple shows. I was running a venue in Oakland called 2232 MLK with my squad Delmar crew, and he had asked if we'd be interested in a verse with Killer Priest. I said, yeah. We had never bought a verse from somebody before. All of a sudden, he's quoting prices and like fucking faxing over contracts, and I'm just kind of like, whoa, like this was like a little bit overwhelming. Like, we're not doing shit like this. We have features with Sean Price and Hyro, and nothing like this was how it went down. You feel me? We were just getting love or whatever. We wound up not doing the feature, and I kind of like fell out of communication with MAD, but I always thought he was cool. Like, you feel me? I respected him. And so when this situation comes up, because what happened was this: one of the guys working for me at King of the Dot at Grind Time West, or King of the Dot West, Fresh Coast, was this dude, Christian. He has a relationship with M80. He winds up signing a deal with them. He's chilling with this dude, Dr. Zodiac. Dr. Zodiac was running around with Corrupt, with Shabazz and Disciple, with YG, with a gang of different rappers. You feel me? With Killer Priest. M80 wind up sleeping on bro's couch like on a drunken night, and Christian happened to be there because he's like living with the dude, editing for him. He had like a whole little army there. He said something about Canibus doing a battle. We wound up coming up with the bread. The homie, I'm like, oh, he came up with the bread. How we got it? Boom. All of a sudden, and this is where I fuck up, I don't read the contract. Now, I send my deal points. This is what I know that we as King of the Dot and I need. This is how green I am. I'm wet behind the ears as fuck. I'm sending, these are the deal points that we need for this contract, blah, 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 blah. I send it over. Christian, he look it over, has his people look it over. He's like, oh, it seems like there's no red flags here. What I believe we agreed to is $10,000 up front, and then a portion, like a back end split. You feel me? Now, apparently, $10,000 is just part of the deposit, and then within a certain amount of time, they're expecting allocations, 10 bands here, 5 Gs here, leading up to like 40 something, 50 bands at the event, right? Now, I'm like, so Organic is tripping. He's like, what the fuck? Like Lush, what is this situation you got us in? What is this fucking contract? Let me see this. We wind up seeing the contract, and then Christian's like, talk to M80, call M80. It's with him. I'm like, oh, M80? Oh, I know him. We cool from back in the day. Let me give this guy a call. You feel me? Like, so I call M80. He answers the phone. This is Matt. You feel me? Straight lawyer voice. You feel me? Like, this is Matt. You feel me? I'm like, M80, what's up, bro? It's Lush, bro. I don't know if you remember me. I'm ready to give my little preamble, trying to convince him, hey, we're not going to have this money. We're willing to work something out. We weren't aware of the contract that we signed. Christian's an idiot. I had this whole speech in my head, right? I don't even get half a sentence. Something. I'm like, you may not remember me. He says, yeah, I remember you. You owe me $600 for a Killer Priest feature from fucking 2008. I'm like, awestruck, dumbfounded. I'm like, so taken aback, like, whoa. Like, not only now am I not able to finesse him, but I'm on the defense. You feel me? Like, he already has changed the dynamic. So not only am I not able to even ask him for a favor or ingratiate myself or try to use what rapport I think we have in my head based on knowing this guy, but he got me by the balls for a Killer Priest feature from 2008. You feel me? So the fact that he led off with that, I'm like, oh, fuck, this is going to be, I'm in for a long night. And so this is how it starts. And So we spent about 5 minutes arguing about the Killer Priest feature. Now, when I say arguing, it's kind of me trying to justify things and explain things, and him having just a firm legal grasp of the way things work. And this is the business. This is the contract that was signed. Fuck whatever is going on back then. Beyond your outstanding debt to me, which we can get to later. You have this going on, and this is the contract that was signed on your company's behalf. And I'm like, look, we're not going to have the revenue. This isn't going to work. He's like, hey man, take out a business loan, or we just going to take this 10K to the neck. It is what it is. You feel me? Like, so we wind up through weeks of perilous negotiation, and Shasta, Organic, and Avi, and whoever is on the dot side of things, and negotiation. They wind up arriving at a figure, and everything's copacetic from that point on. But like at the time, I was like, "Fuck M80, this dude is janky." But in reality, he ain't doing nothing wrong. He's just kind of following business protocol. Now, he might not have the same like cultural stake in it that I did, or understanding or care in it that I did, but it is what it is, and so wound up happening, and his client got what he needed. So WM80 ultimately, as far as that's gone.
Right. So did you know about all those things that he was talking about with Canibus trying to sneak out of Canada and getting arrested, and then his arm got broken, and like all the details of that situation?
Like, we're hearing little bits and tidbits and stories and like pieces of lore, but Canibus is such like a mysterious, enigmatic figure. It's kind of hard to know what's real and what's not. So we weren't sure. And I didn't really have too much dialogue with him prior, like from the time we had the little business discrepancy up until we're face to face at that moment of the battle when he's being introduced. I'm right next to the Dizaster. We didn't really have too much dialogue. You feel me? Like, actually, backstage, there's a cool moment. I wish it was on camera of me, him, and Super Nat freestyling. And I think I made Vitamin of Brother as well.
What was your reaction when you saw Canibus like pull out the notebook and basically admit to defeat? And as a fan, as a hip hop fan, like what was that moment like for you?
I mean, it's like, it's devastating. It was like Santa Claus ain't real, but a part of me was, it was kind of like mixed emotions, because remember like how close I am to Dizaster. So I try to remain as impartial as possible in those moments, but this is like an empire that I'm building alongside my boy, for better or for worse. And so I'm kind of like, I understand the gravity of the moment and what it means for him and what this kind of potentially can do for him as a MC and a battle rapper. So I'm kind of like, a part of me is like feeling that excitement, but it's kind of like not like this. We kind of wanted to see like a brutal war that just, where both of them, it's debated for centuries who has the doper verse and who's the better. And I think it would have been more impactful if he didn't do that. It became like a meme at a certain point. And although Dizaster had incredible material, and he used the, you ain't got a on me shoulder to lean on, the way he was able to seamlessly weave his freestyles into his verses in such a expert way, was not lost on anybody. But I feel like if Canibus had given him more of a fade, it would it would have hit different, It
would have been more of an impact for the culture, for sure. Like, yeah, the talk of legendary stuff.
To us, it was still kind of crazy. Like, seeing this is I believe Jay-Z had already been like, I watch every Grind Time and Smack URL battle and but we're seeing in real time Busta Rhymes and Swizz Beats and, Royce the 5'9", and the real beacons of the culture and icons debating it and talking about some shit that we did. And I don't know, we wasn't really we was just kind of getting used to it. Yeah, we had the Drake thing, and that was amazing. But this kind of hit different. This was like a really big like cultural moment for hip hop, like beyond battle rap. It was like the trajectory of the culture, you know?
And the crowd ended up turning on Canibus, like booing him while he was trying to rap the rest of his verses after that. And it was kind of, it was what was the energy like in the room at that time though, when that was happening?
I think a lot of people, like the majority of the people there were there to see Canibus. Like there was I would say it was a weird crowd to begin with. It was kind of a weird venue for battle rap. Also, all right, let me read one. But I would say like the crowd was kind of, I would say maybe 20 to 25% battle rap, maybe 60 to 70% hardcore cannabis aficionados, and the rest is like hip hop fans, maybe the remaining 10% or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so there was whoever signed up to an alias on cannabiscorp.com or whatever, like for show, was there. So a lot of them, this is them seeing their real life superhuman hero, the bearer of the infinite rhyme scheme, like the people that buy into levels of this lore that don't even fully make cognizant sense to, you know what I mean, like rational human beings. Those people are kind of confronted with the reality of, oh shit, what's up, bro? Like, this is crazy. This is happening. So it was heartbreaking for them. Yeah, it was an intense moment for sure. Watching like Superman and then like it like right in front of you, wanting to walk away and kind of like disappearing into the crowd, like the Homer Simpson, like into the hedge meme. Like, yeah, like we seen that in real time.
Can you tell us something about that situation that might not have been discussed publicly before? Like some behind the scenes like story or something like that?
There was I'll say this, like, so that right there was the height of the momentum of when the Fresh Coast movement had aligned with King of the Dot, and we had first gotten kind of started over there. But at the time, because of like how off-brand the business was and how like the discrepancies that we had as a result, it kind of made it so that we kind of had to restructure from day one. And at that moment, like Organic and them were kind of going to chop like the West Coast from King of the Dot. Like it was damn near going to be restructured. It wound up through like the Homie Aspect One and J Pro and Malathiad and then myself, like we wound up like restructuring it. But like there was a period of time where the amount of just financial strain and just that whole entire experience put on Organic and King of the Dot was overwhelming to the point where it was damn near like shut down all American endeavors.
Wow. So what is Canibus's energy and like after the battle?
I mean, like he's like, you know, he seemed like pretty chill. He was gracious. He was still like there taking pics with the ass per my recollection. I spoke to him a couple years back with Mikey D. Actually, he was super chill, and we were talking about potentially doing an interview, but it didn't. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't come to fruition as of yet. He's kind of not really at that phase of his career type shit. Bro.
Got you. All right. So what about the Cassidy battle with Diz? I think the vibe of it being in the parking structure, just it felt so much more hip hop, but that wasn't the original plan, right?
Well, as far as it being like a smaller, no, that was not the original plan. It was originally we had the Belasco Theater. We had a 1,600 or 1,500 person venue sold out. We had the best and brightest of battle rap culture on the card. It was an insane production. A lot of it, that was such a clusterfuck of a time and so much going on. And it just was just marred in just so much, man, like this. That was such a wild time. I do agree that it did have way more of a hip hop feel the way the battle wound up transpiring, but it kind of was fucked for Diz in the sense that that's not what he prepared for. And he kind of like, I prepared for a big stage environment. And then when you have to kind of oscillate that material at the last second to something completely different, it can be kind of frustrating.
Right. That situation was put on by Film On. Is that right?
Correct.
Right. So at that time, that's the Greek billionaire dude, and like he had a lot of money to make that situation happen, basically.
Well, yeah. So like, I randomly. So this is after I moved back to LA or whatever. So I moved up to Oakland in 2019. I was like 18 years old, and I did a lot in the independent market there, including the whole ride time thing and all that. And then I moved back in 2014 officially to see what I can do to take things to the next level and leverage some of the amount of like my portfolio for larger investments. And my boy G Money, my boy Grant, and I were taking multiple interviews. They're not really panning out. We're with we're working with Relativity Media, the company that does, I think they do Catfish and all that. And I'm showing up to the meeting high up fucking Clonopin, and there's like 15 other people pitching shows, and like they have like intricate decks and sizzle reels. I wasn't feeling all that, and I just told them what the fuck I had going on and explained what they had. And they wound up they were about to greenlight the show at the last second because Daylight wound up showing a picture. And when we were casting it, Daylight showed a video of the casting office, and then subsequently Total Slaughter, which had already been in production, wound up signing a deal with Fuse Network, which that's a shots of Fuse Network. But you figure a star of Eminem's caliber probably could have been able to leverage a larger scale deal, but he still got that deal popping and on short order because that was announced literally within 24 hours or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And that kind of deaded that. Wound up taking a meeting with this dude who was a Greek billionaire, and told her that I was able to provide several million eyeballs if necessary. He said, oh, I said, big ass event. He said, how much big ass event costs? I said, roughly half a ticket to a ticket, ideally. He said, yeah. I told him that there's ways to marry his hologram technology into that, because this is a guy that at the time owned the technology for Tupac hologram and all that. So I wound up getting him to put up the money for Cassidy. And the problem was he didn't fully see the vision for battle rap. So I wound up having to come out of pocket with a lot of the money I was making. And I'm making money from a lot of places at that time. But in order to kind of make the event happen, so the day, the week leading up to the event, there's still deposits owed, battlers aren't paid. It's not until he sees the entirety of the whole thing where he's like, oh, okay, I get it. And then things start to get reimbursed and, the rappers get paid. But there was a whole lot of controversy which wound up leading to some crazy ass, beef and alleged things happening or whatever. There's bad interviews over there. She had the light of day. So it's like, shit got spunky with Sirius Jones and myself. Shit got spunky with a lot of people. So yeah.
So,
but shots out there. So I mean,
yeah. So why does the event not happen that first night? Exactly.
Oh, the event happened, but
I'm sorry, the battle. I meant the battle. The event happens, but like the battle is the main event doesn't happen.
So like because we're working with a larger entity, you kind of saw this like with URL when they're working with caffeine in the early phases, like when they're trying to kind of marry that identity and they don't. You're dealing with a corporation that doesn't understand like the culture of battle rap. So that was kind of what the vibe was over at Nose Jumper. At Film On. They didn't understand the way it worked. So the whole run of show was super weird. And by the time the main event is cracking, we're already behind schedule. they each have an entourage of 100 gang members, and we had the venue rented out from like 6 a.m. to 8 or 9 p.m. We already had it extended because there's a rave after us. At a certain point, like the venue owner like hit the lights on us and said, gave us a hard out. Some kind of did.
That's crazy, man. Wow.
Yeah, that's why it's like literally in the middle of like this is maybe in like the middle of his second round when that happens or shit. Like, yeah.
So when the battle happens in the parking structure, right?
Yeah.
Vlad said he was there, and he said that's been like one of the top 10 hip hop moments that he's witnessed, like in person.
No, for sure. I mean, like, it was legendary, 1,000%. Like that energy. First of all, we haven't seen Cassidy battle since the, you feel me, freeway throw a beat on era. You feel me? Like we haven't seen Prime Cass, and this is over a decade. This is his return to battle rap. So before, like, you know, like I guess some Pokemon shit, gotta catch them all. Canibus was the coveted trophy in 2012, and then Cassidy wasn't even more unattainable. That's why it cost over a quarter of a ticket to even book it, you know.
So what was your reaction to the actual battle? Like, how do you think that it
I think
out?
I mean, it was classic just in the sense of having Cassidy back. I don't feel like that was the best display of, like, I feel like Diz still did his shit, and lyrically, it was exciting to see Cassidy flip Diz's style and all that. That was a great moment for hip hop, but I do feel like it wasn't exactly, it's not what my objective was when I stepped forth for this. And really, the whole thing really happened because I'm simultaneously like looking for other situations, but I'm doing so mainly with just King of the Dot in mind because I'm working for King of the Dot. And at that time, you know, we're starting a relationship with Film On. There's potential there. They're sending a camera crew around. They're even at the Dizaster versus Math battle. At that battle, that thing happens. Diz and Math erupt into chaos. We wind up on TMZ. It's this whole fucking big, you know, all this regalia, you feel me? Like, but we wind up, we wound up doing that because as a result, Dizaster winds up catching a banishment, like a 1 year or 2 year ban from King of the Dot. So he's feeling really low and depressed. Shit's low. We got to have the bounce back. What can we do that's big? My boy, G Money, who I mentioned earlier, has a relationship with Cook. Cook is he's the head of Rough Riders West. He's worked directly with Cassidy for his whole career. Cook got Cass on the phone. You know, he agreed at first to $100K for a battle. Now, once he finds out, like we had already actually, so we got him on the phone for $100K. Once he realizes that Dizaster is the guy that just punched Math in the battle, he throws another 100 on top of it. And then with all the additional contract stipulations and travel, it's like well over a quarter ticket that it costs to even get it done. But that came to even be from Diz being alienated from King of the Dot. You feel me? Like,
right. I feel like most fans thought that Diz's bars were crazy, like the technical aspect of it and everything is what you expect from Diz, right? But they felt like Cassidy had a better performance, but like his bars weren't better than Diz's bars. You know what I'm saying?
The thing is, like, Diz is involved in the whole curation of it kind of side by side with me to a degree. And he's not living as comfortably. He's not getting paid the same amount. He got paid cool, but it was installments and all that. He wasn't fully comfortable leading up to that battle by any means. And like I said, our vision wasn't executed. This is supposed to occur on a stage. It doesn't. And to be honest, here's something that people don't know about this. I don't know if Diz ever spoke on this. We don't know, or if he did, people probably forgot. We don't know until 5 minutes before that battle happened if it's even being allowed to happen, because the dude Alki's tripping and there's a gang of shit. You know what I'm saying? The dude from Phil Line is tripping. There's all these different intricacies and things that are kind of at play that Diz didn't even know if he was going to rap. So it was hard for him to fully be invested in the moment. So, you know, not to make excuses for him, but Cass, he backstairs, you know, he backstage chilling. His, you know, bitch don't know if she wanted Louis or a Fendi bag, just like in You Tell Me Where. I can't remember what their outfit, like it's a different energy at the time. And so I think that's why I kind of, the people that understand the lyricism and certain aspects, but I think the shock value of him flipping his style and the shock value of him rapping in general and still having those vintage Cassidy moments, you feel me, Cheerio, honey on a Cheerio box, type, like, but all that is people kind of, you know, a lot of people were excited and the shock value of it wound up leaning towards Cass. But, you know, it was kind of overall for me a bit disappointing because it's not what we wanted.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, you fucking motherfuckers want to talk about the behind the scenes of the Cassidy or the Canibus battle. That ain't shit compared to what we went through with that. We're talking fucking stolen art, fucking mob hits, shootouts, all kinds of crazy shit. You feel me? Like,
which you can't talk about, right?
I mean, some, but you feel me? You're like,
well, like, what can you talk about?
Well, there's this kid there's a lot. I'll say this. There's a kid that wound up a lot of money that was fueling our lifestyle at that time, which was crazy. Like, we were spending, you know, thousands of dollars a day, bungalows at fucking resorts and all that shit, like in all the nicest hotels and Roosevelt, all that bullshit, like eating 5-star, doing the most, designered up, running around with the gang members, whatever that entails. It was a lot of shit. And to sustain that lifestyle, people were doing a lot of crazy shit. Kids were stealing priceless art items and selling them for fractions of the value in order to be able to even hang around us type of shit.
Got you. Okay. All right. The Total Slaughter situation.
All right, to them.
What do you mean? Oh, they're dead?
Yeah.
Oh, sheesh.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Bro threw himself in front of a train. I couldn't make this up if I wanted to.
The guy that stole the artwork threw himself in front of the train to avoid repercussions for who he stole it from?
No, not. I mean, it's just subsequently happened. There's no connection or correlation there.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right. Total Slaughter. The concept was super dope, right? You know, all these battle rappers in the same house together, like on some real world shit, competition at the same time and everything. The execution, a lot of people kind of criticized a little bit because there was a lot of footage that was not included in the actual episodes.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's because it was forced, bro. Because they literally were forced into releasing it a lot quicker than they wanted to and getting that event off because we had all the shit going on with Ether and even the show that the shit we got with Relativity Media. So that show is going to be essentially the closest way to describe it in a context that would make sense now would be like Love and Hip Hop battle rap. It'd be like close glimpse in the lives of overlapping personalities that are prevalent at the time in battle rap and the drama that ensues. So, you know, you had Dizaster and Daylight. They were two of the biggest at the time. They were both also on Total Slaughter, and they're both on the West Coast. They're from the same crew. Half the time they don't get along. Huge dynamic personalities, always in the headlines, always in drama. Made sense. Me, I'm the guy that helped discover both of them and usher them to success. And, you know, I'm married to a badass bitch at the time. So it's like all this, they both got badass vibes. So like all this. And then there's kind of like Ronald's another character too. He's kind of like, you know, he's addicted to drugs and he's also super interesting and compelling. And he's kind of a different demographic. He's got a bad bitch too. So it's like all these different characters and the way they overlap. And then the, you know, the entire adjacent worlds of battle rap that they're all immersed in. So that was a show that I kicked, and they was feeling it. And, you know, to the point where we had our, literally, if it wasn't for Dave leaking that. And so this is all happening at the same time. Total Slaughter was rushed. And yeah, footage of Dizaster freestyling, smoking pools will never be seen, shit like that, blah, 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 yeah.
Well, the actual execution of the event, the day of the event too, right? Outside of the show, with Hollow versus Joe Budden and everything like that, it was a little disappointing because the mic system that they had wasn't working for Joe, and he had to hold the microphone as opposed to like having both his hands free to rap and perform that way. What was your like takeaway from that situation?
It's kind of funny. Like my takeaway at the time was way different than it is now. Like obviously I was being super judgmental and this and that. But when I look back, they essentially ran into the same exact problems that we did a few months later with the crowd being too big. That's not accustomed to battle rap necessarily. There's a lot of people that are there because of the industry look. Like there's like, bro, look back at Vlad interviews. That's where the first time China and fucking Jin seeing each other after the, you feel me, whatever, you feel me, they situation in the, you feel me, club that one night. The whole prison sentence that China, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so there's a lot going on at that event that had nothing to do with the battle. And kind of took away from the moment and was too big of a crowd. And the technology as far as the way things were mic'd wasn't fully there. We kind of ran into a lot of those same issues, as well as the people were tripping on the streaming service, I believe, as well. Which I know we definitely had that with the film on ETV, a lot of issues with that as well. So, yeah.
Do you think that there should have been judges for that battle with Hollow and Joe?
Nah. Because it was kind of, at the end of the day, like, it wasn't fully, I don't think they executed their vision enough for them to want it to be judged either. You know, I think that the people were pretty hard on Joe about it. He had a couple like lines in there, but I don't think he was being received the way he wanted to for his wordplay and what he does in the context of, you know, like Slaughterhouse and even just like Joe rhyming with Ransom and Hitchcock and all that. That was and even Joe before that on the tapes with Fabulous and Paul Kane, and then, you know, during the Desert Storm, DJ Clue, you feel me, you know, Long Live Dez, you feel me, era as well, you feel me, all those eras of rhyming. Joe Budden's been like held to a really high standard lyrically. We kind of know Joe as a spitter, so when he kind of coming what people can construe as quote unquote ass, it's going to be like, oh damn, like, so I don't know. I think the mic thing and the whole vibe was off for it to even be judged, you know?
Yeah. His performance was a little lackluster, but he had some good bars. It's just like, he wasn't getting the respect that he felt that he deserved. And then it was a bad look when he put the mic down and like everything. It was kind of like he almost like gave up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, like for sure, the whole mic, that whole thing before, like, yeah, it's just like the vibe was off. Daylight had already had a psychotic meltdown on stage or whatever performative thing he had going on with the smart costume. So it's like this is all the same day. This is a lot of weird vibes, dude. Like there wasn't really, the crowd wasn't fully there to imbibe on lyrical supremacy.
In your opinion, did Joe Budden have a beef with Diz? Like, was he biased towards him? Because, you know, in the actual Total Slaughter, he's like, I've heard half that verse before. And like, it seemed like he was a little trying to get at Diz in a way.
I think that a lot of Joe Budden's sensibilities for the type of rap he likes, me being someone that's watched Joe beyond as MC and who he's chosen to work with, but as a media personality, because Joe Budden was super early. He's kind of the pioneer as far as rappers are concerned on the internet. And really before him, the only people don't know about this, but hieroglyphics and living legends, I'll say, and Brian Sayers, like there's even like Def Jux, you feel me, Ruckus, like there's, like there's examples before, but he really in that era, once all that kind of fell to the wayside, he was very early with the internet shit, and especially outside of the major label system. And I think he kind of got like, I don't think his taste would be towards a rapper like Dizaster. You can call it hating, but look who he chose beyond the Eminem thing, who he famously didn't get along with as well. There's a lot of, I feel like Joe Budden feel like he nicer than everybody, but it's within a specific context of wordplay and niceness and other type of devices that MCs use that Diz is super big on. I don't think really resonate with Joe the same.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a fucking hater. I'm just playing.
And that's why some people have said that he's weird, right? Like his responses to certain things is like a little off the beaten path. The way he interprets certain things. And
well, yeah, but I mean, like, look, so he always rapped with, like I said, Fabulous and Paul Kane, punchline bass, New York.
He's a genius. Don't get me wrong. He's a genius. It's just that socially he's a little different than some people,
But I could just see Diz's whole, maybe Diz as a person for sure not resonating with him, but Diz's whole style. Maybe he's mad because Diz might slay more Boone than him, because Joe Budden is a historical slayer and Boone, but Diz Pokemon card collection to the roof, for real.
That's hilarious, man. That's hilarious. Yeah. So what ended up happening with GTX battles with Diz versus King Crooked?
Okay. There's so much to unpack there, because like, do you want me to even contextualize what GTX is, or do you want me to just get right to the point? I could do that.
Let's get straight to the point.
Okay. So unfortunately I have to kind of contextualize a little bit, because GTX got its funding as a company from another company called Man Royalty, which is a Web3 company. At the time we signed our deal with them, it was November of 2021. At that time, that is the highest that the crypto market has ever been. We got, I think it was $70,000, flirting with $70,000 for one Bitcoin at the time. We signed a deal with them because they have a lot of disposable income and they're willing to take a chance on a company like us. We start getting our budget allocated in December. Our first event is in February. We're operating under the assumption that we still have a sizable amount of revenue coming in. That's when we make the announcement. We paid Crook his initial deposit. We are working with other investors as well. So there's a whole chain of events. Kind of me trying to learn my lesson from being irresponsible business-wise at a grind time, and being around hip-hop culture, because we didn't even talk about my origins and how I got started in the game. I'm not a fucking result of nepotism in this culture. I started out fucking putting up wheat paste and handing out flyers, part of the West Coast street team for Duck Down Records in the late 90s. Shout out to Drew High, and so, Watley, Sean Price. So, I come from humble beginnings when it comes to hip hop. I grinded my way up to a certain point. So I know that it's rare for people to catch lightning in a bottle once, much less multiple times. And the fact that I have this potential to have people be interested in what I'm doing again and willing to put an exuberant amount of funds, flirting with $1 million into it, what me and my friends are doing, cool, because here's the cool part. I thought I was working for King of the Dot, and I didn't want to start. Diz was really pushing me on doing this. I didn't want to necessarily go. I was more focused on a label deal under Sony Orchard. Me and Mikey D, we're getting Mikey D, and you just had it on your platform. We're getting placements. Shouts to Huss, aka Panda on the Beat, for producing shit. We were getting placements in all kinds of movies and shit. Like, focused on other shit. Diz wanted me to do that. King of the Dot didn't have a plan in effect for me to be able to have a sustainable income or job. So we had to go get it on our own. I wound up cracking that deal, and I wanted to not echo the same mistakes that I made before. So I was like, let's take the business seriously. Let's do this and that. At the same time, I'm dealing with Dizaster, who was he's a genius, but he's very grandiose in his approach to the way he wants things presented. And it was very specific, and we spared no expense. And we're kind of operating under the assumption that we're going to have more of this money coming in because, here's another mistake I made, and here's another lesson that y'all can learn. You get a deal with a company, and they agree to a set amount of money per the contract you sign. Make them allocate that full amount by the date it says in the contract. Don't operate on good faith and be afraid that they finna pull out. Because if they finna pull out, they pump fake it to begin with. You feel me? They ask that to begin with. There's no point. And that's what I did. That's a big mistake. I was letting him, we're doing little progress reports in campus and showing them, this is what we did. This is where I've been fucking, you feel me? I'll wipe my ass this many times. Give me my legs fucking 50 grand of solvent, bitch. You feel me? Like, and it sucked that we even like had to do that when they already agreed to what they agreed to. But I'm kind of like, you know what? Ain't nobody else giving out these checks to us, so let's fucking take it. And they're pretty much letting us do our thing with the extension of being a little stingy with the punching. At a certain point, the crypto market crashes, and this is right after the New first event. We're halfway through planning our second event, and we already have the Crooked Eye versus Dizaster, Team Crooked versus Dizaster announced. So at that time, the crypto market goes from $70,000 per one Bitcoin to less than 15. In addition to that, the majority of the assets of the company that are invested in us are in this thing called Celsius, not the fucking energy drink, a crypto bank. Imagine you go to Wells Fargo or Chase or whoever you bank with, Navy Federal. You feel me? Imagine you go to B of A and you got to make a withdrawal, and they say, due to instability in the current market, we are unable to honor transactions. That's exactly what happened to them. So they were completely fucked beyond just the being fucked from Bitcoin crashing and all the different coins subsequently crashing. Their entire assets are in a bank that they can't even get money out of. You feel me? I felt no sympathy because I'm like, you're fucking us in the ass. So what I wanted doing is, Diz isn't hearing me not doing an event. We already have deposits out. We already have Crooked Eye promised this. We got to make it out of an event. It's all we could do. We got to try. So you throw an event. I take out high predatory merchant cash advance loans. Also don't do that, small business owners. I don't know if you're aware of what those are, but put myself in like $70,000 debt just to make that event go down August 2022. That same time, the company collapses. I'm in debt. My bitch leave me, and my mom gets diagnosed with terminal illness. You can't write this in a lifetime movie if you wanted to. So I'm fucked. Luckily, no jumpers on the horizon of that. But yeah, that's the Crooked Eye battle didn't occur because there was no more money for him. We spoke multiple times. At this point, it's kind of like it's still feasible, but it would require, it will require motherfuckers honoring their word and spinning the block now that the crypto market's back up and you're back up. Spin the block and spin with them. It's even more famous than they were before. And be a Jake guy.
So how was Crooked chosen to be the one that Diz was going to go against? Because they're homies though, right? Him and Diz are cool.
That's a mutual respect. As far as I know a lot of people were confused by the battle too. I don't know if you remember that, but a lot of people in certain regions thought the battle was weak. You know what I'm saying? And we're not fucking with the battle. So
Because a lot of people, I mean, but Crooked's really respected. But I guess if you know,
He
kind of
is, but like people
situation.
kind of like, but in the West Coast, my point is this: in the West Coast, you can't get more. Like this is the paradigm, you know, is that right there? You know, is Crooked Eye. That's like lyrical supremacy at its finest. Kendrick Lamar not been a battle, and I'll even go as far as to say, like, in a battle rap context, Crooked Eye is better than Kendrick Lamar. Maybe not from like a song making perspective, but when it comes to like straight battling, my money would be on King Crook person.
Yeah, me too. I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
So, like, you know, him battling Dizaster, who was a symbol of the coast, made a lot of sense to all of us out here. And it was kind of not only that, that's the real thing that I've always wanted to see, and the real thing that I feel like is the ultimate rap battle. And to this day, is my bucket list for battle rap is Dizaster versus Eminem. And if Diz smoke your homie in a rap battle, you better step up. You feel me? I don't know if Royce wanted next or M, but you feel me? Like, shit, I feel like Crooks is tough enough paid to be a good underboss for Eminem. Shit, you feel me? But Diz got to be careful because Crook could smoke your ass too. Like I said, I don't think there's too many quote unquote industry or rappers that have been even glimpsed at the mainstream that are as capable as that.
So it's safe to assume that everybody involved was severely disappointed by the situation not happening.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't think Crooked necessarily was. Like, I mean, he might have been from a creative standpoint, but he got paid like a cool little deposit regardless. You feel me?
Oh, okay.
His album with Joel Ortiz charted that same month, and he's still King Crook. Does he want to battle Diz? Like, I feel like if he really wanted to battle Diz, we could make it happen. And it wouldn't necessarily need to be on his exuberant of a scale as it was there, but that kind of, I don't know if because like King Crook was perfectly fine not battling. We approached him for the battle, you know?
Right. What did you think of Mickey Fax saying Eminem is not a battle rapper? He said Eminem was not, I repeat, not a battle rapper. He was an underground artist who participated in rap competitions. Battle rappers take weeks and months to prepare for their opponents. Battle rappers were birthed at Mook versus Lux. MCs before that freestyled or wanted music careers.
I mean, like he's halfway right. Some of the things he said is accurate. And shout out to my brother Mickey. Great dude, knows the culture and the art form of MCing as good as anybody. But it wasn't, I would say the beginning of, I'll say Math Hoffa versus Iron Solomon, which predates Luke and Lux original battle.
I love that battle too.
Yeah,
the Math and Solomon.
MCs were already Fight Club kind of birthed to even early Smack, even prior to Luke and Lux. That birth of the origins of MCs. Although a lot of that was just like mixtape verses and who had more gas would outlast and win. But like there's a combination of that. To me, I attribute a lot of that to the Solomon versus Math battle, kind of combining the arts of freestyle and the pre-written and all that. With that being said, yes, like rappers weren't pre-writing to the same degree for sure. But the whole process of what battle rap was, that's like saying that Roxanne Shante is not battle rap. That's like saying Kool Moe Dee is not battle rap or Percy P. Like, it's all part of the same lineage. Eminem is for sure a battle rapper. He made a whole fucking movie about battle rap. It's just a different form of it. That's like saying what G-Funk or drill or trap or whatever subgenre is less or more valid than, you know, this or that subgenre. They're all a part of hip hop. They're all the same, you know, under the same umbrella, and they all have to be considered, regardless of their differences. Yeah, they entail different things. The amount of care and thought that goes into crafting those verses are way different, but the skill sets that made MC shine during the freestyle era, when it was Eminem and Idea and fucking Grime Fest and Swan and all those guys, was completely different.
Yeah, and you know, it's unfair to say, in my opinion, because of the evolution of battle rap over the years, though. It hasn't maintained this to be the same thing.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And but hip hop in its essence hasn't. It's like,
Right.
look at hip hop in the 70s. You feel me? You throw your hands in the air. You feel me? They're bigging up the DJ. The 80s starts to get a little bit more conscious / commercialized / spreading out into other regions and shit. The 90s, like bro, every single era of hip hop is different. Every single era of battle rap is the same thing. So to say that Eminem is not a battle rapper, he's not in the modern sense, just like KRS-One's not a rapper in the same sense of Lil Uzi Vert. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not to say that Lil Uzi Vert's a real MC or anything like that. But it's hip hop's in a completely different space as is battle rap, so it's difficult to equate them. However, they are part of the same lineage ultimately, whether we like it or not.
Got you, man. So what are you working on right now? I see you're working on music and shooting music videos.
Yeah. So I'm working on I really like me channeling the spirit of MacArthur Park, which I think a lot of people don't understand, like the gravity of, not only are you talking about one of the largest open air drug markets in the world, but one of the most heavily gang infested parts of Los Angeles. You know, this like huge, predominantly immigrant population of Central Americans. Over, I think it was 80,000 illegally obtained documentation came through Alvarado Street, a couple of blocks away from here, back in the 80s and 90s. And so it's something that's really doesn't get talked about in the landscape of hip hop in particular, and like me being myself, the storyteller, just like the orator, and someone that's been homeless. There's a huge homeless epidemic right here. If I didn't mention that, there's tents set up all around this motherfucker. Like, you know, being homeless, being addicted to drugs. It's like my story. Like my homies have died from gang violence and continue to. So it's my story, but it's way bigger than me, and it's kind of me channeling it. And it's happened to be at a time as I've had cool success and experienced some cool things as an MC, but people mainly know me as a curator and a personality. Like my artistry has always been outshined by my contributions in other ways, but I think I'm starting to really find my voice through all these years of experimentation and through this project, through God. You know, this is like the most unfiltered, rawest form of me. And it's like, no one's talking about this shit. No one's really outside like that and like interacting with the community. And like tomorrow morning, I'm going to man, it is deep, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, park, you feel me? We got the gear with it and everything. It's a whole lifestyle and like segment of Los Angeles that needs to be highlighted, good, bad, and ugly. And it's the dichotomy of the beauty and the grotesque.
Do you feel like people don't take you serious enough when it comes to your music?
I don't think it's up for me to say what people should or shouldn't take. Like, people are going to take what they're given. And if they don't think that I'm worthy of being taken seriously, that's on me to be a better artist. And that's what I'm doing right now. They don't take me seriously if they don't. But I can understand, like, I've given people a lot of reason to not take me seriously, despite my whatever skills exhibited. Like, you know, I'm giving people plenty of reason to look at me as a clown, as a joke, as a, you know, imposter, as opposed to whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like, and I might have emanated that, but, you know, I'm confident that art will speak for itself, and whatever perception people want to know is what they know.
So when you look at a situation like when you were free,
that's where like the lyricists I look up to give me props. Like, you feel me? Like, I don't really gotta say anything else.
So when you look at a situation like when Suspect was laughing at you when you was rapping on No Jumper, you know what I mean? Like, do you take those type of things like to heart? Like people don't take you, like, you know, they don't believe in your skill set because you was going off on the freestyle. It's just when it went to like the end part, it's like all of a sudden they made it like a mockery.
You got to understand that freestyle it is super funny, bro. Like, it's not even about me going off or not. Like, I looked defeated. Like, when you see someone's soul leave their body, if I watch that and it's not me, I'm laughing. You feel me? That they're gonna play that freestyle at my funeral the day that I die. I could cure fucking cancer, AIDS, and syphilis, and they'll still fucking like make fun of that freestyle. You know what I mean? I could win 7 Grammys. That freestyle will be right after the acceptance speech. You feel me? Like, so I kind of look at that as even you might think you're so dope, but even are you able to translate to every environment, and what environment are you meant to really be rapping in? And like, do you feel the need to prove yourself? Because when you do that, you're coming from a position of disadvantage, and clearly the hyenas are going to fucking back at you.
So why do you think that you looked funny in that freestyle? What exactly about it was funny to you?
It was first of all, I mean, rapping on that beat is already funny. You feel me? Because that's just like, dude, what the fuck? The whole thing felt like super set up-y. It felt like the whole vibe in there was already felt against me. People wanted to laugh before I even opened my mouth. Of course, I'm going to get fucking hoorah, you feel me? And then I don't even like trying to think of a verse that I have in my head that because the whole thing started with me saying, look, if we do a No Jumper cipher, like, and we really like are rapping for real, like, you know, some of you guys got some pretty impressive stats, but don't discount Unk because like, you feel me? If I dust off this mic, you feel me? Shit, like I'm shooting from a different set of tees. You feel me? And I was kind of popping it in a bit more of an aggressive way than that, perhaps. And I wasn't coming in expecting to rap, and especially over that beat. And so like AD has like a perfectly reversed verse that he spit 100 times, like fucking the game. What is it? White rose,
red rose, white ceiling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he literally does that verse, and then all right, it's on you, Lush. Like, what verse do I have that matches like 2017 and post jerk pre Draco influencing everybody's like LA what's it called, that purgatory rap, you feel me? So I'm like, fuck it, I find a little verse I had in my head from that time, try to freestyle it. It was ass. I got laughed at, and yeah, that it made me realize that's motivation. Like, but even somebody that has all these great moments of freestyle brilliance, winning battles, like ciphers that people think are written, all kinds of shit. You have that moment, and then you're a meme forever. Fuck it, you got to roll with it, capitalize off it, use it as a catalyst for inspiration. That's it.
So you've made quite the transition for yourself to becoming a content creator. While many of us remember you from battle rap, you've made a name for yourself outside of that. You know, you're being known now for covering a lot of the gang politics, a lot of the internet drama and stuff. What is that like for you to shift from being, you know, covering like traditional boom bap, hip hop, battle rap and stuff like that to now this?
I mean, like, if you look at the type of people that I brought over to No Jumper, going back from when Diz and I had our show, and it was Razkaz and Hobson, and, you know, Rockness Monster from fucking Hell to Skelto over there, and I'm, you know, sitting down with just a lot of the you know, self-provoked, like dope underground West Coast rappers and delivery boys from New York. Like, I'm highlighting hip hop whenever I can in a place that like I can't even get the Mobb Deep album on the topic list. You feel me? Like type shit. Like it's not where, and I'm over there because of my hip hop expertise and my knowledge, which anybody knows is up there with there's nobody that can converse hip hop with me. That's where I'm going to drown in the conversation. And that's regardless of that. That's not just like a specific era or region. I'm talking whatever subgenre, whatever region, whatever era you're talking about, like I'm privy to it. And if I'm not, like I'm absorbing anything I can about that, because like literally that's like my life's obsession is to do that. And it's been something that I've absorbed. Started out like from like a fan perspective to actually being outside and being in these different hoods and being a part of these cultures and seeing it with my own eyes and hearing it with my own eyes and embodying it and all that. And with No Jumper, as far as the gang shit goes, being from LA, I'm already aware of that's just already affected my community from the time I was a kid. So, regardless, if you're from an affluent family, if you're outside, you go to public schools in LA, you're playing ball with kids, like I said, West LA, every 2 blocks changes, and there's people from all parts of the city bus to whatever school you're at. I promise you that. And in the 80s and 90s, when I grew up, it was treacherous as fuck. You're talking about the riots, the earthquakes, all that shit. So, the gang shit is something that I'm familiar with, and it's not something I like to speak on, especially when it hits close to home, when like we're talking about friends of mine, cases and investigations. Like I tend to take a backseat and defer, because anytime I've even tried to, it's not even worth interjecting on certain things. But as far as like covering the overall landscape, like unfortunately, gangs are a huge part of what's going on in hip hop. And when I say hip hop, I mean the overall landscape of like rap music, youth culture, black culture, urban culture, whatever you wanted to define it as. Now, people could say only the fuck shit's being highlighted. There's definitely a discussion to be had there. But to act like gangs and drill music and all this isn't like one of the main things that all these kids are talking about, and what's like, we'd be remiss if we're going to ignore that. We try.
Right. What do you say to the critics that believe that No Jumper exploits gang culture?
I mean, I can definitely understand the critique. I think that No Jumper provides a platform for a lot of gang members, in particular, that never would have stable income, be able to fucking fill out a 1099 or a W-2, W-4, whatever form it is they're filling out, you feel me, like that has gainful employment. A lot of these dudes, and that's not a shot at any of them, this is a fact. This is going back for No Jumper for the past several years. I'm not referring to, now a lot of them would be able to, and that's great. But even people like me, I'm not a gang member, but me getting gainful employment, like there's not a lot of companies outside of like the niche media space that I'm in that would consider really fucking with me, despite whatever qualifications I have. So I'll just put myself in that same category. But not just gang members, but fringe characters, people that really are what...
People that got records.
Well, yeah, people that got records for sure, people that are under active investigation. But beyond all that, people that are influencing the culture of what LA and, the entire world is on right now.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that it would look different from the outside perspective if Adam was black? But because he's white, it's viewed as like, oh, you're exploiting these black employees, these guys that are gang members and stuff like that from the outside.
I mean, that's an interesting perspective. The reason why I want to say maybe to a degree, yes, there's probably some people that might be a little bit more forgiving, but I can also see it working inversely as well. I'll point out some examples. let's look at Flacco. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at academics. You know what I mean? Like, now, is academics under the same scrutiny Adam is under? If academics was white, would it make a difference?
I think that it would play a different role in.
So you think he would? Do you think academics? You know, there's a good chance that if Adam was black, it's so hard for me to fathom Adam is black. But if he was, because what's crazy is like Adam is still, per whatever the internet might tell you, whatever press might say this or that. Like Adam was just at Young Boys concert, and they like the fans there. That this fool is out and about, walking and not in no VIP area in the general population. You feel me? Walking through, getting treated like fucking Jesus, like he was performing. Like everybody taking flicks videos with him, getting nothing but love. It's like the amount, like people really. Adam has impacted the community in a really positive way, despite not being black. I don't think that's. I never think that's been a factor for him, just like it wasn't for me. Like for me, it wasn't like, oh, how could I come up off of black culture or something? This is what is fire. Like this is what I think is dope. Just like you know the aspects of white culture, I think are what people got to define as white culture, like punk rock or this or that, or skating. Even though like a lot of my favorite bands and skaters are black or Mexican or this or that, whatever, it don't matter. Like it's all just like all these subcultures that are dope. Hip hop is amongst them. It happens to be a lot of black people that are doing that shit and created it. Like fuck it, like I fucks with that. And I think that's what it was for Adam too. He came from BMXing. You can't be more a white boy than that. Like, but he started interviewing rappers he liked, and boom, all of a sudden he's one of the voices of the culture. And I think him having to come to terms with that and navigate that, especially in a city like LA, well, him being black, it might have even been worse in certain ways. Who knows? But yeah, he might have had it easier. I ain't gonna lie. I just don't want to like put that white man's burden excuse on anybody, because there's so many different ways. This is where Necro would want to argue with my ass. You feel me? Shots on Necro. You feel me? But where systematically, you feel me, it would kind of make it more difficult for a lot of other races to even be in a position to begin with. I'm not saying that about Necro. I'm saying that about a lot of other white motherfuckers.
Well, when it comes to hip hop, though, right? Whenever you're not black in the culture and you do something, it's easier to be casted as a culture vulture, even if black people do it too, right? Like there's like, for example, when academics cover something controversial and then Vlad covers it too, Vlad will be called a culture vulture for it, even though other people are doing it as
right.
Well. Right. So but I'm talking about more of the gang culture side of it, because Adam is not a gang member. He's not from California to be involved in the gang politics, right? So that's why I'm asking you, being close to that situation, how other people view it.
I mean, a lot of people are going to automatically like look at the fact that No Jumper is a platform associated with it. A lot of its most popular content creators being people that are either currently incarcerated and or fighting major federal cases or on their way home for being incarcerated. Like that is, I would say more that's a testament to just the gang culture of Los Angeles than it is No Jumper. No Jumper happens to be the biggest platform. If it wasn't, like, yeah, you're right. Like people look at No Jumper under a more scrutinizing lens than they might academics. Is it because he's black? Is it because of this or that? If I thought about those things, I'd be fucking blue in the face. You feel me? We just got to do the best content we possibly can. And like my thing is this: the reason why I never let the whole race thing bother me in hip hop is because I was confident in my skills and who I was, and it was like I'm gonna shine regardless. Like these motherfuckers, if they don't fuck with white boys, and trust me, I went through that. You feel me? What the racial tension in LA in the '90s was crazy. You feel me? Like yeah, like it was different. And you know, when I first moved up to the Bay, like dealing with like black militants and all that, bro, trust me, dude, like, but at the end of the day, like I was confident enough in my skills and my art and where I was coming from, just like as an artist that was going to shine through. And ultimately I'll say that it did.
All right, so what is your take on the whole drop my flag challenge that my bro Hocus 4/5 started?
I mean, like, look, that shit, like, in the context of what it is, I respect it. Like hella much. That shit is dope. You feel me? Like, especially, look, even out here, there's a bunch of kids that are banging, that are going to war, killing each other over shit. They don't even know what it means. They don't even know the origins. And it's really fucking sad, right? Any type of violence with kids or anyone is all bad. If the drop my flag shit is pushing towards an agenda of minimizing that and getting people towards being in accordance of that, that's a no-brainer. Who wouldn't be on the side of that, right?
Yeah, so, you know, Adam's response to the situation that, well, it was viewed as Adam was making a mockery of it, right? When he said that he was responding to something else, that a friend of his that was gay or something like that, you know, that got the attention of Styles P, and a lot of people were upset about what Adam said and did and everything. How did you feel about that?
I think that, I mean, like, first of all, like, motherfuckers love Styles P and shit. Love the, like, come on, man, this is like the watch. Like, even Adam, and like, Adam grew up on New York hip hop. Don't get it twisted. Like, there's a reason why so many of these fools, from the Ghost Faces on down, even fucking Necro, have all been interviewed on No Jumper, because Adam came from that cloth. Like, we sat down with Jimmy and Joel's. If you like, that Dipset interview was a huge, you know, moment for not just me, but for Adam 1000%, because, you know, him including me in that, for real, because, you know, like, he reveres, so like, obviously we don't want Styles P being mad at us or being mad at, you know, something Adam said. I think what Adam said was taken super out of context. I can see why people were mad. I don't think what his intention was to mock that or to like make fun of that in any capacity. I think in his eyes, he was just kind of, you know, I don't think he realized how the serious it was and how localized it was. That kind of just goes to show that like a lot of us are just locked into our algorithms, and he thought that whatever is popping in the gang herald in New York and the East Coast was just something that was just viral overall. And I don't know if he was fully discerned just like how that was going to come across. Because I know he wasn't trying to be insensitive, you know. And at the same time, like, it's admittedly him, myself, everybody. Most of my homies got really dark sense of humor, but just something like that is not something to play with. I know he wouldn't want to play with other fools. You know, any gang members not wanting to continue affiliating themselves with, you know, violence and anything of that nature. So I definitely don't condone it. I feel where they were coming from 1000%. I just don't think that people really, if they knew Adam's heart and just like him as a person, I don't think that they would be as incensed as they were necessarily, you know. That's not to say that Adam wasn't in the wrong for making whatever video he made. I just don't think he understood. I know he didn't understand the ramifications that people could have taken from it.
So with that being said though, right, like if he didn't understand at the time of doing that, after the fact, wouldn't it be more in his best interest if he truly cared to come out and say, like, you know, like, yo, my bad, like, it wasn't, I could see how that was taken the wrong way like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
I think, I mean, I thought he kind of did, like, for my understanding, like, on the show, like, he definitely did it. Like, he basically said what I just said. He clarified that was not his intention to be disrespectful to, you know, the big homie is started or anything like that. It wasn't, but at the same time, I think we're living in an age where people walking back their statements and not being themselves. Like, it's perceived as a sign of weakness. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people look at, like, me personally, I don't, if I'm wrong about something, again, it comes down to confidence. Like, people can say what they want about me, but I know who the fuck I am, and I'm very, very confident with the person I am. Like, so you want to say that to a fault, you know? Like, and that's on way.
I think that he might have did it on the show, like you said, but initially when he put out the video calling Hocus a clout chaser or like responding to him in that way, it didn't seem like he was very apologetic towards the way that things came across. And I think that's why the first impression people were like, oh, he really is making a mockery of the situation versus, you know.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not fully across the timeline to give like the proper analysis. Trust me, like, I would love to just look. All I'll say is this: I know the homie's fucking hard and sexy humor, and I don't think he meant it trying to disrespect me whatsoever. At the same time, I don't think he wanted like to get hoed out. He's not going to get hoed out by somebody on some internet shit. I think that's your talk. This is not his words. This is just the Lush One via PANDA chop assessment.
Right. No, I got you. And I think that because people were viewing it like with him saying, you know, we don't do that in LA, people are like, well, you're not even from LA and you're not even a gang member. So why are you speaking on it in this kind of facet? You know what I'm saying? And being like, I'm like GB, BD, Vice Lord, and I'm tired of beefing with my ops. And so that's why people perceived it in that way.
Look, okay, so, and this is, I'm somebody that grew up tagging. And if you grew up tagging in LA, you know, and you're from that tag banger culture, it's essentially very similar to the gangs, and people definitely kill and die over that shit, unfortunately, too. It doesn't quite have the same gravity, admittedly, but it's right there. There is like a whole other element to it. But I definitely grew up with a lot of homies, and I'm still around a lot of homies that are deeply entrenched. Like I said, lost one of the homies the other day. This happens to the point where it's almost, we're very desensitized out here, and there are certain cultural norms that don't even exist, like the concept of dropping a flag. That's not like that. That's not a West Coast. That's not an LA gangbanging thing. You know what I mean? So I don't think that people really understood what that really meant. Like, 'cause I know, even though a lot of folks that are from the sections that are members, and like they've never used that terminology, they might, you feel me, get put off. You know what I mean? Like, they might not be active no more. They might, you feel me, get DP'd. You feel me? They might get, you feel me, a number of different things. But as far as, you know, they might even hood hop. You feel me? They might even join another set. You feel me? But as far as, like, most of those things I say are pretty frowned upon, by the way, you know. But as far as LA is concerned, lingo. But as far as dropping a flag, that's not, obviously I could discern what that means. And I'm tapped in with New York and all that to know what the fuck that means. But, you know, that's not like LA gangbanging lingo. So I think that another part of the disconnect right there. I don't think Adam really understood the really. Again, I'm not trying to be his fucking Johnny Cochran or fucking Kevin Costner. To save a hoe in this bitch. You feel me? Like, fuck, I really like, but you know, that's legitimately what it is.
Yeah. All right, Lush, man. I just want to thank you so much for your time. We definitely got to do a part 2 because there's so much that, you know, we could have covered as well, man. But is there anything else you want to say to the people before we go ahead and wrap it up?
Man, shouts to PANDA. I appreciate the opportunity. Like my man said earlier, shouts to C-Dub for Young Copyright. You know me for lacing the interview. Make sure to stay tuned. God Save MacArthur Park. Feel me? God Save MacArthur Park.